The wind was sharp and cold, howling through the quiet streets of Konoha. As 6-year-old Naruto sat alone on the roof of an abandoned building, staring down at the village he was forced to call home. Shadows stretched across his bruised skin, remnants of yet another accidental beating by villagers who sneered, spit, and muttered about the demon boy. He'd heard the whispers since he could remember, even if he didn't know why. To them, he was nothing but a curse, a monster in human skin. Naruto's eyes narrowed, feeling the familiar twist of anger gnaw at his gut. The rage was there, burning hotter than anything he'd ever felt, but it was something else too, a gnawing instinct, like a voice at the back of his mind, whispering. It told him not to give in, to endure, to evolve, to fight. He clenched his fists, his small frame trembling with a power he didn't understand. It was like a storm inside him, itching to break free. He didn't know where the strength came from, only that it felt ancient, like it had been waiting for him all along. Training Ground 6 was empty, but Naruto didn't care. This place, hidden from the village's prying eyes, had become his sanctuary. He didn't have anyone to teach him, no mentor, no family, but he didn't need them. The strange instincts he'd felt since he was small, like memories buried deep within, guided his movements. In his mind, he could see someone, a man with silver hair and a fierce gaze. He fought against impossible odds, took hits that should have broken him, only to rise again, stronger every time. That image haunted him, drove him. Get stronger. Naruto's fists moved faster than he thought possible, his body a blur, defying logic. He threw a punch against the boulder in front of him, expecting the usual ache in his bones. Instead, the stone cracked, splintering under his fist. He froze, staring at his hand. How? As smirk tugged at his lips. The whispers in his mind grew louder, sharper. They weren't taunts like the villagers, but encouragement. Push harder. Don't stop. Naruto gritted his teeth, a reckless determination filling him as he slammed his fist into the boulder again. Shards flew in every direction. His knuckles bled, but he barely noticed. This was power. This was his path. He didn't care about being accepted. If they wanted him to be a monster, he'd show them what real fear was. By the time he was 10, Naruto's training had become his life. He didn't care for friends or the academy's stupid lessons. His instincts, honed by the endless echo of that fierce warrior within him, taught him more than any book could. He could read the way people moved, predict their attacks before they made them. Every day was a new test, pushing himself further, faster, deadlier. One evening, as the sun bled into the horizon, Iruka found him training alone. Naruto, why aren't you with the others? Naruto shrugged, not bothering to meet Iruka's gaze. The others are weak. He looked back at the academy teacher, his eyes gleaming with a confidence that made Iruka shiver. They don't matter. Iruka's frown deepened, but he didn't push. There was something different about Naruto, something unsettling. But Naruto was already walking away. Naruto's disdain for the village grew with each passing year. By 12, his power had become undeniable. The villagers still whispered about the demon, but now they watched him with something else in their eyes. Fear. He could feel it, see it, and it only fueled him further. He didn't want their respect, their acceptance, just their silence. During his first sea rank mission with Team 7, Naruto found himself against a mercenary far stronger than the usual thugs. Sasuke was already down, and Sakura was paralyzed with fear. Kakashi was too far to help in time. The mercenary lunged at Naruto with a speed that would have been deadly to anyone else. But Naruto barely moved, sidestepping the attack, his hand snapping out in a single, brutal strike. The mercenary crumpled, his breath stolen by the sheer force of Naruto's blow. Kakashi finally reached them, eyes widening at the scene. Naruto, what did you? Naruto shrugged, glancing at his teacher with an expression devoid of any remorse. Weak. Kakashi studied him, unsettled. He knew Naruto was strong, but this wasn't just strength. It was something else. Something ruthless. Time passed, and Naruto's power only grew. His abilities evolved with each fight, his body adapting to whatever was thrown at him. By the time he was 15, the whispers had changed. The villagers no longer called him a demon out loud. Now, they avoided his gaze, stepping back whenever he passed by. He could feel their fear, taste it, and it was intoxicating. One day, as he trained alone in the mountains, he felt it again, that relentless voice, louder than ever. It pushed him harder, urging him to evolve, to embrace his monstrous potential fully. His skin began to change, his body transforming under the pressure of his own power. Muscles hardened, his senses sharpened, and an aura of pure, terrifying energy radiated from him. He punched a cliff face, and it shattered like glass. When he looked down at his hands, there was no shock, no surprise. Only satisfaction. The villagers had been right all along. He wasn't a human. He was something more, something they couldn't understand. Back in Konoha, rumors spread. They called him the monster of Konoha, the boy who didn't care for loyalty, kindness, or any of the ideals the village stood for. They had expected him to crave their approval, to bend to their ways. But Naruto's only goal was strength, his own path carved from power and fury. He didn't care for their Hokage, their clans, or their traditions. He was beyond all that, a force that no one could control. The villagers may have given him life, but his true purpose was his alone to decide. And if they feared him, so be it. The tension around Naruto only grew as he continued to sever himself from everything Konoha represented. He wasn't just different, he was unstoppable, and everyone knew it. The Hokage tower loomed in the distance as he walked through the village, his gaze cold, indifferent. The people who had once mocked him, taunted him, now cowered, barely meeting his eyes. Sasuke confronted him one evening in a forest. The Uchiha's eyes blazed with Sharingan, his posture tense. "Naruto," he called out, his voice carrying both anger and desperation. "What's happened to you? You don't care about anything. Not the village, not us, you're just a monster now." Naruto tilted his head, smirking at Sasuke's words. "A monster?" He laughed, the sound sharp, almost cruel. "Funny, coming from someone who's chased power his whole life. You're throwing everything away. We couldn't have been stronger together." Naruto interrupted, his tone cutting. "Stronger together? Pathetic. I don't need anyone. I'm not here to protect anyone, and I'm not interested in saving this place. I do things my way." Sasuke clenched his fists. "Then fight me. If you're so powerful, prove it." Naruto's smirk faded, his expression becoming unreadable. "If you insist," he murmured, stepping forward, his aura intensifying. His entire presence was like a force of nature, wild and unrestrained. In an instant, they clashed. Sasuke's Sharingan flared as he struck, but Naruto anticipated every move, his own instincts sharper than any dojutsu. Sasuke tried everything: Chidori, high-speed attacks, even genjutsu, but Naruto broke through each attempt effortlessly, his strength and speed unlike anything Sasuke had ever faced. Naruto's fist slammed into Sasuke's chest, sending him flying backward into a tree. He coughed, struggling to catch his breath, while Naruto watched him with cold, detached eyes. "Sasuke, you're weak," Naruto said, his voice devoid of sympathy. "Still clinging to family, friends, bonds. That's your problem. You're shackled by things that don't matter." Sasuke struggled to his feet, fury in his eyes. "Power without purpose is meaningless, Naruto. You're nothing but a hollow shell." Naruto's gaze turned icy. "Purpose? My purpose is to become unstoppable. To evolve beyond anyone's understanding." He took a step closer, his voice lowering. "This village, its people, they are nothing to me. You're nothing to me." Sasuke's face twisted with rage, but before he could respond, Naruto turned and walked away, leaving Sasuke alone in a darkening forest. The air was thick with the finality of Naruto's words, and Sasuke felt a chill run down his spine. He realized then that Naruto was no longer the boy he once knew. He had become something far more terrifying. Rumors spread faster than fire. Naruto's power was no longer a secret, it was a threat. The village elders convened, desperate to find a solution, and Tsunade called an emergency meeting in her office. Kakashi, Jiraiya, and the other Jonin were present, all sharing the same concerned expression. Naruto's becoming a danger to Konoha, Tsunade said, her voice heavy with regret. If he continues on this path, he might become unstoppable. Jiraiya looked troubled. He's tapping into something beyond any jutsu or technique. His power, it's monstrous. We can't let him keep going like this. If he ever turns against us, Konoha won't survive. Kakashi's gaze was solemn. He's made his choice. We have to accept that Naruto isn't on our side anymore. Silence filled the room. No one wanted to face the reality of their words. But they knew the truth, they'd lost him. Naruto wasn't theirs to guide or protect anymore. He was a force unto himself, indifferent to Konoha's ideals or anyone who clung to them. Naruto stood on a cliff outside the village, gazing down at Konoha, his expression unreadable. The memories of the villagers' scorn, their hatred, flashed through his mind, but the pain that had once plagued him was gone. He felt nothing for them now. He was beyond their contempt, beyond their fear. For the first time, Naruto understood his place in this world. He wasn't meant to be a hero, or even a protector. He was something greater, a being unfettered by their expectations, their morals, their weakness. He clenched his fist, feeling the raw, unrestrained power coursing through him. He would become the monster they always feared, one that could shake the foundations of this world. And he wouldn't do it for anyone's approval or validation. He would do it because it was his path. With one final glance at the village that had never wanted him, Naruto turned away, stepping into the shadows, disappearing into the night. His purpose was clear now. He'd forge his own path, away from Konoha, away from their rules, and their chains. He was free, finally free to become the god he was always meant to be. Naruto's departure from Konoha sent shockwaves through the village. Days turned into weeks, and with each passing day, his absence grew more unsettling. Rumors spread like wildfire, whispers of a shadow wandering the outskirts of the land of fire, reports of small, hostile villages wiped clean without a trace, and tales of a figure moving faster than sight, leaving nothing but fear in his wake. No one knew exactly where Naruto was, but one thing was certain: he was out there, and he was only getting stronger. In a hidden training ground far from civilization, Naruto honed his skills relentlessly. His days were filled with the sound of fists meeting rock, of bones cracking and healing as he pushed his body beyond its limits. His instincts, sharpened from countless battles in his past life as Garou, guided his movements. Every day, he learned more about his power, its depths, its limits, and how to shatter those limits. His monstrous strength grew to godlike levels, his speed unmatched. He could feel himself transforming, evolving into something beyond human. One day, as he trained, Naruto sensed a presence behind him. He didn't turn, didn't break his rhythm. The figure stepped closer, finally making himself known. It was Jiraiya. "I've been looking for you, Naruto," Jiraiya said, his voice a mixture of relief and caution. Naruto paused, glancing over his shoulder. "You shouldn't have come, Jiraiya." Jiraiya's face softened. "Naruto, you don't have to do this. Whatever path you think you are on, there's still time to come back." The village. The village. Naruto's voice was cold, almost amused. "The village wanted me dead from the start. They never saw me as one of them, and now that I've left, they are suddenly concerned. They are afraid," Jiraiya admitted. "You've become something they don't understand. But we can work together." Naruto laughed, a hollow, chilling sound. "Work together? With you? The man who trained me but left me to fend for myself? Don't insult me, Jiraiya." Jiraiya winced, the guilt visible on his face. "I made mistakes, Naruto. I know that. But you can still make things right. You don't have to go down this road. Naruto's gaze turned sharp, his expression hardened. I don't need your forgiveness or your pity. I've found my path, and I'll walk it alone. If you stand in my way, I'll destroy you. Jiraiya's face fell. Naruto, don't make me do this. But Naruto was already moving. He lunged at Jiraiya with blinding speed, his fist cutting through the air like a blade. Jiraiya barely had time to react, throwing up a defense as Naruto's punch landed with a force that sent him skidding backward. You've grown stronger, Jiraiya muttered, regaining his footing. He didn't want to fight Naruto, but he could see there was no reasoning with him. This was no longer the boy he'd known, this was something else, something far more dangerous. Naruto stood still, watching Jiraiya with an expression of disinterest. Is that it? You're supposed to be one of the Sannin, but you're still so weak. The words cut deeper than any blow. Jiraiya steadied himself, his face growing resolute. If that's how you want it, Naruto, then I'll show you what a Sannin can do. He launched forward, summoning his sage energy, his movements fluid and powerful. But Naruto's instincts were sharper, his reflexes faster. Every strike Jiraiya threw was dodged with ease, every jutsu deflected like a child's toy. Naruto's counterattacks were brutal, precise, wearing down Jiraiya's defenses. Finally, Naruto's fist connected with Jiraiya's chest, sending him crashing into a nearby boulder. Blood trickled from the corner of Jiraiya's mouth as he struggled to his feet, his breath ragged. Naruto, you've become unstoppable, he gasped. Naruto walked over, staring down at Jiraiya, his gaze unfeeling. I told you. This is my path. I don't need Konoha, I don't need you. I'll become something greater, something no one can control. Jiraiya's eyes softened, even in the face of his own defeat. I only wanted to help you, Naruto. I only wanted to save you. Naruto looked at him, a flicker of something unreadable in his eyes. I don't need saving. I'm beyond that now. He turned, leaving Jiraiya lying in a dust, his once mentor's final words fading into the wind. News of Jiraiya's defeat spread quickly. It reached Konoha within days, and the Hokage's office was tense, the gravity of Naruto's power weighing heavily on everyone present. Tsunade slammed her fist on a desk, her expression fierce. We can't let this continue. Naruto has become a threat to the entire village, maybe even the whole shinobi world. Kakashi, his face grim, nodded. Jiraiya barely survived. If Naruto's strength keeps growing, I don't know if anyone can stop him. Tsunade's face was etched with regret. I should have seen this coming. We all should have. But now he's beyond our reach. And if he decides to come back, to destroy us. There was a silence, heavy with the unspoken fear that Naruto's power was beyond anything they had ever encountered. They were no longer dealing with a rogue ninja, but a godlike being who held no loyalty to anyone. Far from the village, Naruto continued his solitary path. He no longer had ties to anything or anyone. Every day, his power grew, his instincts sharpening to the point where he could predict movements before they even happened. He was a force of nature, a storm without mercy, bound only to his own will. Villages whispered of him now a shadow, a specter that moved through the lands without a trace, leaving only ruins in his wake. And as he stood on the peak of a mountain, overlooking the vast world before him, he knew there was nothing left to hold him back. He was beyond a human, beyond shinobi, beyond anything they could comprehend. He was free, and he would carve his legacy into the world, not as a hero or a villain, but as something far greater, a being untethered, unbound by the rules that had chained him. Naruto turned his back on the world he had once known, his gaze set on a future only he could see. His path was his alone, and no one, no village, no friend, no enemy could stand in his way. He was Naruto Uzumaki, the reincarnation of Garou, the monster of Konoha, and now, the god of his own destiny. Naruto stood atop the mountain, his silhouette framed against the vibrant colors of the sunset. The horizon stretched endlessly before him, a tapestry of unclaimed lands just waiting for him to shape them in his image. He inhaled deeply, feeling the cool wind against his skin, an invigorating reminder of his newfound freedom. Each breath was a testament to his existence of being unrestrained by the expectations of others. But freedom came with a price. As he ventured deeper into the wild, he felt a growing emptiness within him. Though he had severed ties with Konoha, memories flickered like shadows, faces of those who had once filled his life with meaning, tainted now by betrayal and rejection. Still, he banished the thoughts, focusing instead on the raw power thrumming in his veins, the limitless potential of his abilities. Weeks turned into months as Naruto traversed the land, honing his skills and exploring the depths of his power. Each village he encountered trembled at his presence, their defenses crumbling like sandcastles before the tide. He relished the fear he instilled, but it wasn't simply about domination, he sought to test his limits. With every fight, he pushed himself further, evolving into something even Garou would have marveled at, a perfect amalgamation of human tenacity and monstrous might. One fateful day, he arrived at a small village nestled in the mountains, a quaint settlement that had somehow remained untouched by the chaos he had wrought elsewhere. As he approached, he sensed something different in the air, a heaviness, a dread that permeated the atmosphere. The villagers, upon seeing him, froze. Their eyes widened in terror, and whispers spread like wildfire. "It's him, the monster?" Naruto reveled in their fear, but something pulled at him. The fear they displayed was not the same as before. It was different, it was tinged with desperation, and something akin to sadness. He moved closer, his presence looming, watching as the villagers clung to each other, trembling. "What's wrong?" he asked, his voice low, almost mocking. An elderly man stepped forward, his hands shaking but his gaze defiant. "You don't have to do this," he pleaded. "We've done nothing wrong. Please, spare us your wrath." For a moment, Naruto was taken aback. The villagers didn't plead for their lives, they sought to understand. It was a strange feeling, this interaction, and it gnawed at the edges of his consciousness. "Spare you?" he echoed, the word tasting foreign. "Why should I?" "Because," the man continued, his voice steadying, "we have families. We want to live, to protect what we have. You may be strong, but there's more to life than fear and destruction. You're not just a monster, you're a human being, too. You can choose to be better." Naruto scoffed, shaking his head in disbelief. "Better? You think I care about what you want? I've rejected that life. Your ideals mean nothing to me." But the old man didn't falter. "And yet, you stand here. You've come this far, haven't you? What are you searching for? Power? Fear? Or are you seeking something you've lost?" That struck a chord within Naruto. He felt a flicker of something deep inside, a whisper of the boy who had wanted friends, acceptance, and recognition. But that boy was dead, buried beneath the weight of pain and betrayal. "I've lost nothing," he replied coldly. "What I seek is strength. Power to be free of everyone's chains." "Strength without purpose is a hollow victory," the old man said softly. "You have a choice. You can become a true leader, someone people can rally behind. Or you can continue down this path, and in the end, you'll find yourself alone. Is that what you want?" The question hung in the air like a challenge. Naruto's heart raced as he considered it. Was he truly alone? He had distanced himself from everyone, but was it worth it? Did he want to remain a monster, feared and hated, or could he forge a new path? The villagers watched him with bated breath, their fear mingling with a sliver of hope. Could he, the monster, choose differently? Naruto's mind raced, battling the conflicting emotions swirling within him. He could feel the power bubbling just beneath his skin, ready to erupt. But what would it mean to wield that power without purpose? With a sudden movement, he closed the distance, standing directly before the old man. "What if I don't want to be a leader? What if I want to be a god?" "Even gods must have purpose," the man replied, unyielding. "They don't rule through fear, they protect through strength." Power is meaningless if you have no one to share it with. For the first time, doubt crept into Naruto's mind. What would you know of gods? You're just a frail old man. Frail? Perhaps. But I have lived long enough to know that power is only a tool. It can protect or destroy. It can be used to uplift or to crush. You're at a crossroads, Naruto. Choose wisely. Naruto stepped back, the old man's words echoing in his mind like a mantra. Could he truly turn back? Could he embrace this idea of purpose without losing the power he craved? As he turned to leave, the villagers began to breathe again, exchanging glances filled with tentative hope. But deep down, Naruto knew he had to decide for himself. He was still drawn to power. It was intoxicating and liberating. But for the first time, he contemplated the weight of that power. Days passed as Naruto wandered the wilderness, grappling with the thoughts the old man had planted in his mind. In the stillness of the night, beneath the vast expanse of stars, he trained harder than ever. His movements became sharper, more refined, each strike echoing the conflict within him. He was stronger than any foe he had faced, but now he pondered, what was the ultimate purpose of strength? Each punch he threw felt heavier, burdened with the gravity of his choices. Was there still a way to be powerful without succumbing to darkness? Then one evening, as he trained, a figure appeared in the distance, silhouetted against the moonlight. It was a woman, cloaked in shadows, her chakra pulsing with an energy that felt familiar yet foreign. Who are you? Naruto demanded, instinctively falling into a fighting stance. The woman stepped closer, revealing his striking appearance, long dark hair cascading down her back, piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through him. I'm someone who can help you find the answers you seek, she said, her voice smooth yet commanding. I don't need help, he replied, but even he could hear the uncertainty in his tone. Don't you? She challenged, a smirk playing at her lips. You're torn between the power you crave and the emptiness it brings. You want to become a god, but even gods face the consequences of their choices. Power comes at a price. Naruto narrowed his eyes, his heart racing with curiosity and defiance. What do you know of my power? Or my desires? I know more than you realize. I've been watching you, Naruto Uzumaki. You're strong, yes, but that strength means nothing without direction. You have potential beyond measure, but it's time to decide. Will you choose to wield it for yourself, or will you find a greater purpose? Purpose, he echoed, the word now heavier than before. Yes, she pressed, stepping forward. Imagine a world where you can protect those who cannot protect themselves. A world where your strength is a shield, not a sword. A legacy built not on fear but on respect. You can become the god you desire to be, but only if you choose to walk a different path. Naruto's heart raced as he felt the weight of her words. In that moment, he glimpsed a possibility, an alternative to the solitude he had known. He could wield his power, not just as a monster, but as something more. But could he truly change? Would the villagers see him as a protector, a guardian, instead of the feared monster he had become? The woman stepped even closer, her presence almost magnetic. You already begun your journey. Acknowledge the pain, the anger, but don't let it define you. You can shape your own destiny. A flash of determination ignited within Naruto. He was tired of being defined by others, tired of being labeled as a monster. He wanted to carve his own path, but now he could feel a different direction tugging at his heart. I can't promise I'll be a hero, he said slowly, the words heavy on his tongue. But I won't be a monster, either. Then let's begin, she replied, a smile breaking through her serious demeanor. Embrace your power, but embrace your humanity as well. Together, we will shape a new world. As the moon hung high above them, Naruto felt a new surge of energy, a sense of purpose intertwining with his insatiable hunger for strength. The choice was his, and as he stepped forward into the unknown, he knew he was no longer just the reincarnation of Garou. He was Naruto Uzumaki, and this time, he would forge a legacy that resonated beyond fear, a legacy that would change the world. And thus, the journey began anew. Naruto stepped into a future filled with uncertainty but also hope. He had rejected the chains of his past, and with a woman's guidance, he would redefine what it meant to be powerful. In his heart, he still held the ambition to become a god, but now he would do it not through fear but through strength tempered with purpose. In the coming days, he would learn to balance the monstrous might within him with the ideals he had once cast aside. And as he prepared to embrace this new path, he felt the stirrings of something extraordinary, a legacy waiting to be born, a destiny he could shape with every choice he made. For the first time, Naruto felt alive not just as a monster, but as a force for change. With a newfound determination coursing through his veins, Naruto embarked on his path of transformation. The woman, who introduced herself as Mei, became his guide. She possessed a wealth of knowledge about the world, its hidden secrets, and the balance between power and purpose. Under her tutelage, Naruto began to harness his abilities in ways he had never considered before. Days turned into weeks as they traveled together through the wilderness, seeking out remnants of ancient shinobi knowledge and forgotten techniques. Mei introduced Naruto to a variety of martial arts styles, blending them seamlessly with his own. He learned not only to strike harder but also to move with an elegance he had never thought possible. You must understand that power isn't just about brute strength, Mei instructed during their training sessions. It's also about control. Control over your body, your mind, and the energy that flows through you. Let's practice the flow of chakra. Naruto took a deep breath, focusing on his chakra. He could feel the familiar warmth inside him, the immense well of power that came from the nine tails, intermingled with Gaara's instinctual prowess. How do I control it? He asked, brows furrowing in concentration. First, let's start with the basics, Mei replied, demonstrating a series of hand seals. Feel the chakra within you, and learn to shade it. Your strength is raw, but it can be refined. As the days progressed, Naruto found himself unlocking new abilities. He discovered how to manipulate his chakra to enhance his speed and strength even further, creating bursts of energy that allowed him to perform feats he had only dreamed of. He was becoming a master of his own body, and with Mei's guidance, the monstrous power within him began to feel more like a tool than a curse. One evening, as they settled down by a campfire, Naruto found himself reflecting on his past. Do you ever regret the choices you've made? He asked, glancing over at Mei. She looked thoughtful, the flames flickering in her eyes. Regret is a heavy burden. I have made mistakes, just like anyone else. But I've learned that every choice shapes who we become. The important thing is to learn from them and keep moving forward. Her words resonated with him. He thought back to the old man in a village, the way he had challenged Naruto's views on strength and purpose. I've lost so much, Naruto admitted, a shadow crossing his face. I pushed everyone away. I thought power was all that mattered, but now you see the value in connections. Mei interjected gently. Strength is not just about the power to destroy. It's also about the power to protect, to stand by those who can stand for themselves. Naruto nodded, feeling a flicker of warmth in his chest. He had chosen this path not only to become powerful but also to make a difference. I want to protect those who can protect themselves. I want to be someone they can rely on. Mei smiled, proud of his resolve. Then let's train harder. The world is full of challenges, and you'll need every ounce of strength you can muster. We're going to confront the darkness, and you must be ready. As they journeyed further into the wilds, word of Naruto's exploits began to spread. Villages spoke of a figure, a warrior who fought for those who had no voice, who pushed back against tyranny and oppression. Stories of his strength and resolve drew people to him, and soon, small bands of misfits began to gather, inspired by his determination. One day, they arrived at a village that had been ravaged by a gang of rogue shinobi. The remnants of the town were a stark reminder of the chaos that ruled the land. Buildings lay in ruins, and the air was thick with despair. Naruto felt a surge of anger bubbling within him, but this time it was different. It was fueled by a desire to make things right. Mei, we have to help them, he said, his voice steady. Yes, but we need to be smart about it. Charging in blindly will only lead to more destruction, she cautioned, assessing the situation. Naruto's gaze hardened. I understand. But we can't just stand by while they suffer. Let's gather information first. They approached a group of survivors huddled together, fear etched on their faces. Naruto stepped forward, his presence commanding yet compassionate. We want to help you. Tell us what happened. An older woman, her face lined with worry, spoke up. They came at night, took what little we had, and hurt anyone who resisted. They are led by a shinobi named Jiro, a ruthless man who thinks he's invincible. Naruto clenched his fists, feeling the familiar rush of anger at the mention of someone using power to oppress the weak. Where can we find him? He asked, determination flooding his voice. He's camped just outside the village, hidden in a forest, she replied. But be careful, he has a small army with him. An army won't stop me, Naruto said confidently, glancing at Mei, who nodded in agreement. That night, as the moon hung high in the sky, Naruto and Mei stealthily approached Jiro's camp. They moved through the shadows, careful not to alert the guards patrolling the area. The sound of laughter and drunken shouts echoed through the trees, a stark contrast to the suffering they had witnessed. Remember, Mei whispered, we'll take them out strategically. Focus on the guards first, and then we'll deal with Jiro. Naruto nodded, feeling a surge of excitement. This was his chance to test everything he had learned. As they neared the camp, he could feel the tension in the air, a palpable sense of anticipation. With a swift motion, they struck. Naruto surged forward, using his enhanced speed to take down the first guard before he even knew what hit him. A flurry of movements followed, each strike calculated and precise. Mei was a blur beside him, utilizing her own skills to dispatch foes silently. The chaos of battle erupted as Naruto and Mei moved like a whirlwind, their synergy almost seamless. They fought with a ferocity that left the remaining guards scrambling. Naruto felt alive in a way he had never experienced before, the thrill of battle, the satisfaction of defending the innocent, the adrenaline coursing through him as he unleashed his full potential. Finally, they reached Jiro's tent, the heart of the chaos. Naruto kicked the flak open, finding the man surrounded by a handful of his remaining lackeys. Jiro looked up, his eyes widening in surprise. Who are you? He sneered, a smirk playing on his lips. Just a couple of fools thinking they can take me down. I'm the one who's going to end your tyranny, Naruto declared, his voice steady and filled with conviction. Jiro laughed, drawing a kunai. You think you're tough? I've taken down entire villages. You're nothing. Naruto felt the familiar surge of anger at his arrogance but tempered it with focus. You're nothing but a coward who hides behind fear. You prey on the weak, thinking it makes you strong. With a single motion, he lunged at Jiro, and the world around him narrowed. Time slowed as he felt the flow of checkered course through him, granting him unimaginable speed. He could see every movement, every heartbeat, and with a single punch, he shattered Jiro's kunai and sent him sprawling to the ground. Enough! Naruto growled, looming over Jiro, who was scrambling backward, fear etched into his features. You've terrorized this village for too long. It's time for you to face the consequences of your actions. Jiro's bravado crumbled. Wait. I can give you power. Join me. We can rule together. Rule through fear. Naruto scoffed, shaking his head. I'm not interested in your pathetic dreams of tyranny. With that, he raised his fist and brought it down, the ground shaking beneath the force of his blow as it connected with Jiro's face. The impact sent shockwaves through the camp, and the remaining lackeys hesitated, fear overtaking them. Leave now, Naruto warned, turning to the rest of Jiro's men, who had frozen in shock. You're free to go. But if I see you again, I won't be so merciful. The guards looked at each other, then at their fallen leader. With a collective decision, they dropped their weapons and fled into the night. As the dawn broke, the villagers emerged from their hiding places, witnessing the remnants of the battle. Their expressions were a mixture of awe and disbelief as they saw Naruto standing over the defeated Jiro. You did it, The old woman from the village exclaimed, tears in her eyes. You saved us. Naruto looked around at the faces filled with gratitude, and for the first time in a long while, he felt something warm in his chest, a sense of belonging. I didn't do it alone, he said, glancing at Mei, who smiled back at him. You fought well, Naruto, she said, pride shining in her eyes. You're becoming the leader you were meant to be? But Naruto shook his head, his heart racing. This is just the beginning. There's still so much to do. As the villagers gathered around, sharing stories of their suffering and hope, Naruto realized that this was what he had been searching for, a purpose. He had chosen to protect those who could not protect themselves, and in doing so, he had started to build something far more significant than mere strength. In that moment, he resolved to travel further, to confront the darkness that loomed in the world. With Mei by his side and the strength of Garou flowing through him, Naruto would carve a path unlike any other, one where power served the purpose, and the weak would no longer suffer. The world was vast and filled with challenges, but he was ready. He would become a legend, not through fear but through undeniable strength, the true force of nature. And nothing would stand in his way. With newfound purpose guiding his every step, Naruto spent the next few days in a village, helping to rebuild what had been lost. He utilized his immense strength to lift heavy debris and clear the remnants of Jiro's tyranny, while Mei assisted the villagers in repairing their homes. They worked tirelessly, and the gratitude of the people fueled Naruto's resolve. As he interacted with the villagers, Naruto learned about their stories, their hopes, dreams, and fears. He discovered that many had lost loved ones to the gan's cruelty, and he felt their pain deeply. It only solidified his commitment to this new path. One evening, as he sat by the fire with Mei and the villagers, an older man approached him, eyes filled with respect. You've brought hope back to our village, young man. We would like to ask for your help in uniting the neighboring villages. They are suffering under similar threats. Naruto's heart raced at the prospect. Uniting villages? It was a lofty goal, but one he felt he could achieve. I'll do it, he declared, determination igniting within him. We can't let others suffer as you have. I'll gather everyone and show them that together we can stand against the darkness. Mei placed a hand on his shoulder, pride shimmering in her gaze. This is a noble cause, Naruto. But remember, it won't be easy. There are those who will resist change. I'm not afraid of a challenge, he replied confidently. If they want to fight, I'll show them what true strength looks like. With the villagers' support, Naruto began his journey toward the next village, flanked by Mei and a group of volunteers who had gathered around him. They trekked through dense forests and steep hills, the camaraderie growing among them. Naruto felt invigorated. He was leading people toward a brighter future. As they approached the next village, however, Naruto sensed a shift in the atmosphere. The air was thick with tension, and the sounds of laughter and chatter were replaced by a heavy silence. A figure emerged from the shadows, a tall man clad in dark clothing and a wicked grin on his face. Look what we have here, the man said, voice dripping with mockery. A band of misfits thinking they can change the world. Pathetic. Who are you? Naruto demanded, stepping forward, the surge of Garou's power igniting within him. He could feel the instincts stirring, urging him to confront this new threat. I'm Kaido, the one who rules these lands, the man replied, a glint of malice in his eyes. And you're trespassing? You think you can just waltz into my territory and rally the weak against me? You'll regret it. Naruto clenched his fists, feeling the heat of his anger rising. I'm here to help these people, not to rule over them. You've hurt enough innocent lives, it's time for you to face justice. Kaido laughed, a deep, chilling sound that echoed through the clearing. Justice? You think you can serve justice with that strength? You don't even know how to wield it properly. In a flash, Kaido lunged forward, sending a flurry of attacks toward Naruto. But Naruto was ready. He sidestepped the blows with instinctual grace, the martial skills he had been honing kicking in. With every movement, he felt Garou's essence guiding him, his agility, his ferocity. Is that all you've got? Naruto taunted, dodging, and weaving around Kaido's assaults, then countering with strikes that sent shockwaves through the air. Kaido stumbled back, clearly taken aback by Naruto's speed and power. "You're stronger than you look, but strength alone won't save you." He flicked his wrist, revealing hidden weapons that glinted ominously in the fading light. "Let's see how you handle this." As Kaido launched a barrage of projectiles, Naruto leaped into the air, channeling his chakra to enhance his jump. He soared above the attacks, feeling the wind whip around him. Time slowed as he descended, fists glowing with energy. "Time to end this," he growled, launching himself downward with immense force. He landed in a crouch, sending his shockwave through the ground that knocked Kaido off balance. With relentless determination, Naruto charged, his fists imbued with chakra as he unleashed a flurry of strikes that echoed through the clearing. Each hit resonated with the raw power of Garou's legacy, and Kaido found himself overwhelmed, struggling to keep up. "What are you?" Kaido gasped, desperation creeping into his voice as he stumbled back, trying to regain his footing. "I'm the one who will end your reign of terror," Naruto shouted, closing the distance in a heartbeat. He struck with an uppercut that sent Kaido crashing to the ground, winded and defeated. As Kaido lay sprawled in the dirt, Naruto loomed over him, the remnants of his earlier bravado shattered. "You've been given a chance to change," he said, voice steady. "Leave this place and never return. If you come back, I won't hold back next time." Kaido spat in response, but fear glimmered in his eyes. "You'll regret this, brat. You think you can take me down so easily?" Naruto shook his head. "It's not about easy or hard. It's about what's right. The days of tyranny are over." With that, Kaido scrambled to his feet and fled into the trees, a cowardly retreat that resonated with the villagers watching in awe. Naruto turned to the group, feeling the energy of hope rise within them. Word of Naruto's victory spread quickly, igniting a fire of courage among the neighboring villages. They began to flock to him, drawn by the tales of his strength and resolve. Naruto stood at the forefront of a movement that transcended mere power. He had become a symbol of hope and defiance against tyranny. As the days turned into weeks, Naruto continued to unite the villages, his influence growing stronger. Together, they trained, sharing knowledge and techniques, reinforcing their bonds as a collective force. He learned about their histories, their struggles, and their dreams, understanding that he was not just fighting for them, he was fighting with them. One evening, as they gathered around a fire, a young girl approached Naruto, her eyes wide with admiration. "Are you really as strong as they say?" she asked, voice barely a whisper. Naruto knelt down to meet her gaze. "Strength isn't just about being able to fight. It's about protecting those you care about. It's about standing up for what's right." The girl nodded, absorbing his words. "I want to be strong like you when I grow up." Naruto smiled, feeling warmth spread through him. "You can be even stronger. Just remember to use that strength to help others." As the night wore on, Naruto realized that his journey had only just begun. He had embraced the power within him, but he was also learning the importance of compassion, of forging connections that transcended mere strength. With each village he united, he felt a deeper sense of purpose. But as Naruto continued his quest, he knew there were still greater challenges lurking in the shadows. There were forces in the world that thrived on chaos, and he could sense them stirring. Each victory only fueled the attention of those who sought to maintain their dominion through fear and oppression. One evening, while training with Mei under the starlit sky, she turned to him with a serious expression. "Naruto, there's something we need to discuss. I've heard whispers of a powerful group that doesn't take kindly to your growing influence. They won't just sit back and let you change the world." "What kind of group?" Naruto asked, the excitement of battle igniting within him. "They call themselves the Black Hand," Mei explained, her voice low. "They are ruthless and have a long history of eliminating threats to their control. If we don't act, they could strike at any moment." Naruto felt a surge of anticipation. "Then let's find them first. We can't let them interfere with our mission. I won't let fear rule over the villages we've united." May nodded, impressed by his resolve. We need to gather information. We can't face them blindly. That night, as Naruto prepared for the inevitable confrontation, he felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He was no longer just a boy seeking strength. He had become a leader, a force for change. The world awaited his next move, and he was ready to embrace whatever challenges lay ahead. In the depths of his being, the essence of Garou thrummed with anticipation, urging him forward. He was on the cusp of something monumental, a destiny that would redefine the meaning of power in the shinobi world. And as the first rays of dawn broke over the horizon, illuminating the path ahead, Naruto felt an unwavering resolve. He would face whatever came next, not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of hope for those who had been silenced. With Garou's power flowing through him and a purpose greater than himself, he was ready to change the world one battle at a time. As dawn's light spilled across the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Naruto gathered his allies. They convened in a central square, where a makeshift stage had been erected. Villagers stood around, their faces lit with determination and hope, ready to listen to the men who had become their beacon of strength. Thank you all for coming, Naruto began, his voice ringing clear and strong. We've united for a purpose greater than ourselves. We've fought against tyranny, but there are shadows lurking beyond our borders, forces that threaten to undo everything we've built together. The crowd murmured, a wave of anxiety rippling through them. He continued, these threats won't just fade away, they'll come for us. But we are not afraid. We are strong, and together we can face anything. We need to gather information on the Black Hand and prepare ourselves for the battles to come. A murmured agreement spread through the crowd, faces lifting with renewed resolve. Naruto scanned their expressions, finding determination in their eyes. He felt Garou's power surge within him, igniting his fighting spirit. May stepped forward, her voice steady and authoritative. I've received intel that the Black Hand operates from the shadows, manipulating events to their favor. They have agents infiltrating villages, spreading fear and misinformation. If we're going to stand a chance, we need to root them out. Agreed, Naruto responded, his fists clenching with anticipation. We'll need scouts to gather information. I want teams formed to search for any signs of their presence. If we can disrupt their operations, we can weaken them before they even think to strike. As the villagers began to strategize, splitting into teams, Naruto felt a surge of pride. They were coming together, not just as followers but as comrades, each person contributing to the fight against oppression. It was empowering to see the fruits of his labor taking shape. Days turned into weeks as Naruto's network expanded, gathering intelligence from neighboring villages. The teams reported back with information on Black Hand movements, slowly piecing together the puzzle of their operations. As they prepared, Naruto trained relentlessly, honing his abilities and pushing himself to the limits. With every sparring session and every battle, he felt the influence of Garou growing stronger within him. But the pressure weighed heavily on him. As a leader, he felt the burden of every life in his hands. The more he understood about the Black Hand, the more he realized how deep their roots ran. They were no ordinary band of criminals, they were organized, lethal, and cunning. One evening, after a particularly intense training session, Naruto found himself standing at the edge of a cliff overlooking the valley below. The stars twinkled in the sky, and a gentle breeze whispered past him. He closed his eyes, breathing in the night air, and felt Garou's essence within him, urging him to embrace the chaos that came with power. Why do you hesitate? Garou's voice echoed in his mind, fierce and challenging. You have the strength to crush your enemies. Use it. Naruto clenched his fists, torn between the power he wielded and the responsibility that came with it. I won't just use strength for destruction. I want to protect people. There's a difference. Protection can come from strength, but you must be willing to take decisive action. Fear will only allow them to take what you've built. Show them your resolve. With those words resonating in his mind, Naruto opened his eyes. He understood that he couldn't hesitate any longer. He had to be the force of change, the storm that swept through the darkness. That night, Naruto called a meeting with his core group of trusted allies, a few seasoned warriors, and villagers who had shown exceptional bravery. He laid out everything they had gathered about the Black Hand, revealing their tactics and strategies. "The time has come to strike," he declared, feeling the gravity of his decision. "We know where they are gathering an abandoned fort on the outskirts of the land. We'll go in, disrupt their operations, and send a message. We will not be intimidated." "What if they fight back?" one of the warriors asked, a hint of doubt in his voice. Naruto met his gaze, unwavering. "Then we'll show them the strength of our unity. I won't let fear dictate our future. Together, we are stronger than any enemy they can throw at us." Mei nodded, her eyes shining with resolve. "I stand with you, Naruto. We'll face them together." With a plan set in motion, they gathered their resources and prepared for the confrontation. The atmosphere was electric with anticipation, each person understanding the risks but ready to face them head-on. Naruto felt the weight of their expectations, but it only ignited the fire within him. The following day, they set out toward the abandoned fort, the air thick with tension. As they approached, Naruto's senses heightened. He could feel the presence of the Black Hand, a foreboding shadow that loomed over the landscape. "Stay sharp," he instructed, leading the group forward. They moved in silence, every rustle of leaves and snap of twigs echoing like thunder in his ears. As they neared the fort, Naruto signaled for them to halt. He peered through the overgrown vegetation and saw the flickering light of torches. Guards patrolled the perimeter, their movements calculated and watchful. "There they are," he whispered, eyes narrowing. "We need to create a diversion to draw them out." Mei stepped forward, her expression fierce. "I can use my elemental jutsu to create an illusion. It should confuse them long enough for us to make our move." "Do it," Naruto replied, adrenaline coursing through him. "Let's show them what we're made of." As Mei prepared her jutsu, Naruto felt a familiar rush of energy surge within him. He could sense Garou's instincts sharpening his awareness, heightening his focus. He was ready to unleash his power. With a flash of hand signs, Mei summoned an illusion that manifested as a group of shadowy figures, mimicking the movements of a larger force. The guards reacted instantly, drawn toward the distraction. "Now!" Naruto shouted, charging forward with his team right behind him. The element of surprise was theirs, and as they surged through the entrance, they clashed with the unsuspecting guards. The fight erupted into chaos. Naruto moved with incredible speed, his strikes infused with the raw power of Garou. Each blow sent enemies sprawling, his movements fluid and instinctual. The thrill of battle coursed through him, the darkness of his power dancing at the edges of his consciousness. He could feel the fear emanating from the Black Hand operatives as they realized they were outmatched. One by one, they fell before Naruto's relentless assault, their efforts futile against his overwhelming strength. As he fought, he heard the shouts of his allies, the cries of victory resonating around him. Together, they fought as one, their unity empowering each strike, each movement a testament to their determination. But amid the chaos, Naruto caught sight of a figure retreating deeper into the fort, a shadowy leader he recognized from the reports. It was time to end this. "Stay together," he shouted, pushing through the ranks of enemies, determination fueling his every movement. The others followed, their resolve unwavering as they pressed forward. They burst into a central chamber where the leader, cloaked in darkness, awaited them. A sinister smile stretched across his face as he surveyed the chaos behind Naruto. "You're brave, I'll give you that," he sneered. "But bravery won't save you from what's to come. You think you can change anything?" Naruto felt Garou's power surging, urging him to unleash his fury. "You underestimate the strength of unity," he replied, voice steady. "Your reign of fear ends here?" The leader laughed, a hollow sound. "You think you can take me down? I've faced stronger than you." With a swift motion, he lunged forward, but Naruto was faster. He dodged the attack with fluid grace, feeling the instincts within him guiding every movement. In an instant, he retaliated, striking with a force that sent the leader crashing into the wall. As the dust settled, the leader struggled to rise, panic replacing his confidence. "No. This can't be happening," he shouted, realizing the tide had turned against him. "It's over," Naruto declared, standing tall. "Your fear-mongering ends here. The people will no longer live in darkness." With one final, decisive blow, Naruto knocked the leader to the ground, the fight leaving him as he lay there defeated. The chamber fell silent, the air heavy with the realization of victory. As his allies entered, cheers erupted around them. They had triumphed, sending a clear message to the Black Hand and any who sought to threaten the peace they had fought to create. In the aftermath, Naruto stood amidst the rubble of the fort, his allies celebrating their hard-won victory. He felt the weight of the battle lift from his shoulders, replaced by an overwhelming sense of pride. They had come together, faced their fears, and emerged stronger. But he knew this was just the beginning. The world was still fraught with darkness, and there would be more battles to fight. Yet, standing there, surrounded by those who believe in him, he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. "Let this be a lesson to all who seek to impose their will on others," he said, addressing the villagers and warriors gathered around him. "We are not alone. Together, we are stronger, and we will protect our future." As the sun set behind the mountains, casting a golden glow over the village, Naruto gazed into the distance, feeling the weight of Garou's power resting within him. He was ready to face whatever challenges awaited, not just as a warrior but as a leader, a force of change in a world that desperately needed it. And with that, he turned toward the horizon, embracing the journey ahead, ready to carve a new path, one where fear would no longer reign and where unity would pave the way for a brighter future. As the cheers of victory echoed around him, Naruto felt a profound sense of purpose solidifying within him. The fort, now in ruins, bore the scars of their struggle, a testament to the determination that had driven them forward. His allies were gathering around him, their faces bright with triumph, but Naruto knew the battle was far from over. In the days following their decisive victory against the Black Hand, the village began to rebuild. The remnants of the fort were cleared, and plans were set in motion to fortify their defenses. Naruto found himself immersed in discussions with Mei and other leaders, strategizing how to maintain their newfound strength while continuing to root out any remaining threats. During one such meeting, as they gathered in the village's community hall, Mei laid out her observations. "While we've dealt a significant blow to the Black Hand, we can't afford to become complacent. They will retaliate, and we need to be prepared for anything." Naruto nodded, his expression serious. "I understand. We need to strengthen our alliances with neighboring villages. If we can unite more forces, we'll stand a better chance against any counterattack." "I agree," Mei replied, her eyes sharp. "We should start sending envoys to gather support. But it might be wise to consider a show of strength as well. Something that proves we're not just a flash in the pan." "Let's organize a tournament," Naruto suggested suddenly, a spark igniting in his mind. "A display of our strength that will attract attention and invite those willing to ally with us. It will not only showcase our capabilities but also give the villagers a chance to celebrate their hard-earned victory." Mei smiled, appreciating the idea. "A tournament would certainly draw attention. We can invite other villages and showcase our unity. It'll also be a great opportunity for training." The group erupted into conversation, the air thick with enthusiasm as they began to discuss the tournament's details. Naruto felt invigorated, each word they exchanged only fueling the fire within him. This was the path he had chosen to lead, to protect, and to carve out a future free of tyranny. In the weeks leading up to the tournament, Naruto pushed himself harder than ever before. He trained with his allies, honing their skills and encouraging them to push their limits. The lessons from Garou echoed in his mind. Strength was not just about power, but about will, resilience, and adaptability. As the day of the tournament approached, the village was abuzz with preparations. Colorful banners adorned the streets, and the air was filled with the sound of laughter and chatter. It was a celebration, a chance to honor their recent victory and solidify their unity. When the day finally arrived, Naruto stood in the center of the arena, surrounded by an eager crowd. Villagers from neighboring areas had come to witness the event, bringing their own warriors to participate. The excitement was palpable, and he could feel the energy of the gathered crowd surging through him. "Welcome, everyone," Naruto called out, his voice amplified by the sheer enthusiasm of the moment. "Today, we celebrate our unity and strength. This tournament isn't just a competition, it's a declaration. We stand together against those who would seek to bring us down." The crowd erupted into cheers, and Naruto's heart swelled with pride. He had taken the first step in solidifying their bonds and making a statement to the world that they were not to be underestimated. The tournament unfolded over the course of the day, showcasing incredible talent and bravery. Naruto watched as fighters from different villages stepped into the arena, each displaying their unique jutsu and fighting styles. Some fought with precision, while others relied on raw power. It was a spectacle, a vibrant display of the shinobi spirit. As the final rounds approached, Naruto felt the anticipation building. He was slated to compete against a formidable opponent, a renowned fighter from a neighboring village, known for his speed and agility. The crowd buzzed with excitement, eager to see how their champion would fare. When the time came, Naruto stepped into the arena, feeling the adrenaline coursing through his veins. He focused, channeling Garou's instincts, allowing his senses to sharpen. His opponent was waiting for him, a confident grin plastered on his face. "Think you can take me on?" the fighter taunted, shifting into a ready stance. Naruto smirked, the thrill of competition igniting his spirit. "Let's find out." The two rushed at each other, the sound of their footsteps pounding against the arena floor. Naruto moved fluently, a blend of speed and power, his strikes fueled by the strength of Garou within him. He felt invincible, dodging and countering with ease, his instincts guiding his movements like a second nature. With each exchange, the crowd roared, their cheers echoing in his ears. He could see the determination in his opponent's eyes, but Naruto was relentless. He summoned more of his power, feeling it surge within him. In a moment of clarity, he decided to end the fight decisively. Channeling his energy, he unleashed a barrage of strikes, overwhelming his opponent. The fighter faltered, and with a final, powerful punch, Naruto sent him crashing to the ground. The arena erupted into applause, the crowd cheering his name. Naruto stood tall, chest heaving as he absorbed the victory. But amidst the celebration, he knew that this was just one battle in a much larger war. As the tournament concluded and the sun set on the horizon, Naruto found himself on the edge of the village, contemplating the journey ahead. He had proven their strength today, but he also recognized the challenges that loomed in the distance. The victory against the Black Hand was a testament to their unity, but it was only a beginning. There were still remnants of that darkness scattered throughout the land. He could sense Garou's power within him, a reminder of the ferocity that lay dormant, waiting to be unleashed. "Is this the path you've chosen?" Garou's voice echoed in his mind, a mixture of curiosity and challenge. "This is just the start," Naruto replied aloud, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I'm going to protect my village, no matter the cost." "You'll need to embrace that chaos," Garou urged, his presence a constant reminder of the potential for destruction that resided within Naruto. "Fear is a weapon. Use it wisely." Naruto nodded, understanding the weight of those words. There was power in fear, but it was also a double-edged sword. He would wield it, not to terrorize, but to protect and to fortify. As he turned back toward the village, the celebration was in full swing. The laughter of children and the joyous cheers of his comrades filled the air, and he felt a warmth spreading in his chest. This was why he fought. For these moments of joy, for the bonds they had forged in the fires of battle. He would continue to carve his own path, embracing the darkness that came with power while ensuring it served the purpose. With every challenge he faced, every enemy he defeated, he would grow stronger, and he would ensure the light of hope remained bright in a world filled with shadows. In the following weeks, the village remained vigilant, preparing for the inevitable retaliation from the Black Hand. Rumors began to circulate about their movements, whispers of a gathering that hinted at a counter-strike. Naruto took the initiative, calling his allies together once more. "We need to be ready for anything," he began, addressing the group gathered in the community hall. "We've shown our strength, but they won't take their defeat lying down. We need to fortify our defenses and stay one step ahead." The room buzzed with conversation as they discussed strategies, training regimens, and fortifications. Naruto felt a surge of pride watching his comrades collaborate, each contributing their strengths and insights. Amid the discussions, he caught a glimpse of the shadows moving beyond the windows. His instincts flared, and he stepped outside, the air heavy with tension. It was time to prepare for the storm that was undoubtedly coming. As he stood at the edge of the village, a dark figure appeared on the horizon, silhouetted against the setting sun. The tension in the air shifted, and Naruto knew that whatever was coming, he would face it head-on. With Garou's power coursing through him and the unity of his village behind him, he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. They had fought hard for their peace, and they would defend it with everything they had. And as the figure drew closer, Naruto stood tall, resolute in his purpose. He would carve a future where darkness would no longer reign, a future where strength and unity would prevail, and where he would protect those he cared for at all costs. With a fierce determination burning in his chest, he prepared himself for the confrontation ahead, ready to unleash the full extent of his power and prove that he was not just a reincarnation of Garou but a force of nature in his own right. Naruto Uzumaki, protector of his village and harbinger of change. As the dark figure approached, Naruto's senses heightened. He could feel the power emanating from the silhouette, a palpable energy that resonated with a sense of danger. His instincts screamed at him to prepare for a fight, yet a part of him felt drawn to discover the identity of the intruder. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a tall, lean man cloaked in a tattered black robe. His features were sharp, and his eyes glowed with an intensity that seemed to pierce through the gathering dusk. The man radiated a sense of confidence mixed with a hint of arrogance, and Naruto felt a stirring of unease as he studied him. "Who are you?" Naruto called out, his voice steady but firm. "State your purpose here." The man smirked, a knowing glint in his eyes. "I am known as Zephyr, the harbinger of shadows," he replied, his tone smooth yet menacing. "I come with a message for your village." Naruto's muscles tensed as he readied himself for potential conflict. "If you're here to threaten us, you've made a grave mistake." Zephyr chuckled softly, almost mockingly. "You misunderstand, young shinobi. I'm not here to threaten. I'm here to offer you a choice. The Black Hand is not finished with you. They are gathering their forces, and soon they will strike again. Join us, and you may find a place among the shadows, a chance to wield power beyond your imagination." "Join you?" Naruto scoffed, his eyes narrowing. "I'll never align myself with those who wish to bring destruction to innocent lives." Zephyr's expression hardened, but he maintained his composure. "You misunderstand the nature of power, Naruto Uzumaki. With the strength you possess, you could become a god among men. Embrace your darkness, and you'll find that the world is far more complex than you've been led to believe." "I know exactly what I am," Naruto replied, his voice rising with conviction. "I will protect my village, and I will never turn to darkness. I choose my own path." Zephyr's eyes flared with annoyance, but then a wicked smile crept onto his lips. "Very well. If it's a fight you seek, then a fight you shall have. But know this, the shadows will always be lurking, and one day, you will realize that there's no escaping them." With a flick of his wrist, Zephyr summoned a wave of dark energy, the air crackling with tension. Naruto felt a surge of adrenaline as he dropped into a combat stance, ready to defend his home and everything he stood for. The ground beneath him trembled as Zephyr unleashed his attack, a torrent of shadowy tendrils surging toward Naruto. He reacted instinctively, channeling his chakra as he formed a massive Rasengan, the swirling blue energy pulsing with his determination. "Rasengan!" he shouted, hurling the attack forward to meet Zephyr's oncoming shadows. The two energies collided with an explosive force, sending shockwaves rippling through the surrounding area. Naruto dug his feet into the ground, bracing himself against the backlash. As the dust settled, he quickly assessed his opponent. Zephyr stood unscathed, his expression a mix of intrigue and amusement. "Impressive," he said, a hint of respect creeping into his voice. "But you'll need more than that to defeat me?" Naruto felt a fire ignite within him, fueled by the determination to protect those he cared for. He remembered Garou's teachings about embracing strength, and in that moment, he decided to fully unleash the potential that lay dormant within him. "Then let's see what I can really do," he shouted, allowing the chakra within him to surge forth. He tapped into the full extent of Garou's power, feeling his muscles brittle with newfound strength. His senses sharpened, and he entered a state of heightened awareness. With a sudden burst of speed, Naruto charged at Zephyr, closing the distance between them in the blink of an eye. He struck with a flurry of punches, each blow fueled by raw power and precision. Zephyr blocked and countered, but Naruto was relentless, weaving through his defenses with an agility that belied his strength. The two exchanged blows, the arena reverberating with the impact of their strikes. Each hit echoed like thunder, and Naruto felt invigorated with every clash. He had found his rhythm, a dance of combat that felt almost instinctual. Garou's essence flowed through him, guiding his movements as if they were one and the same. But Zephyr was no ordinary opponent. He fought with dark cunning, summoning shadows to ensnare Naruto and divert his attacks. The battle escalated, shadows wrapping around Naruto's limbs, threatening to pull him into their depths. But he pushed through, channeling his chakra to break free, fueled by a fierce resolve. "Is that all you've got?" Zephyr taunted, his eyes gleaming with malice. "You may have strength, but you lack the darkness that makes one truly powerful." Naruto grinned, the thrill of battle coursing through him. "I don't need your darkness to be powerful." With a surge of determination, he tapped deeper into his chakra, focusing on the bond he shared with Garou. "I am who I am, and I won't let anyone define my strength." Drawing upon the chaotic energy swirling within him, he unleashed a devastating new technique. "This is my will." Konoha's wrath, he shouted, his voice echoing as a massive wave of energy erupted from him, radiating with the light of his determination. The energy collided with Zephyr's dark shadows, creating an explosion that illuminated the night sky. Naruto felt the ground shake beneath him as the two forces clashed, and for a moment, he was lost in the raw power of the confrontation. Zephyr's expression shifted from confidence to shock as he struggled to maintain control. "No. This is impossible," he yelled, desperation creeping into his voice. Naruto pushed forward, refusing to relent. "This is my choice. I will protect my village." With one final surge, he channeled all of his energy into the attack, breaking through Zephyr's defenses and sending the dark figure sprawling. The dust began to settle as silence enveloped the arena. Naruto stood tall, panting but triumphant, his chest rising and falling with each breath. He had faced the darkness head-on, and he had emerged victorious. As Zephyr lay on the ground, his form flickering like a candle in the wind, he glared up at Naruto. "You may have won this time, but the shadows will always return. You cannot escape your destiny." Naruto looked down at him, unwavering. "I create my own destiny. If the shadows come for me again, I'll be ready. But I'll never succumb to their influence." With that, Zephyr dissolved into a cloud of shadows, his figure disappearing into the night. The tension in the air lifted, and Naruto felt a sense of clarity wash over him. He had faced a powerful foe, and while he knew that more challenges lay ahead, he felt more prepared than ever to confront them. As he made his way back to the village, Naruto realized that this fight was not just about defending against the Black Hand. It was about asserting his identity, a declaration of independence from the shadows that sought to manipulate him. He was Naruto Uzumaki, a warrior forged in battle, a protector of his village, and a harbinger of change. In the days following the battle with Zephyr, Naruto took the time to reflect on his journey and the responsibilities that lay ahead. The village was abuzz with talk of his victory, and the tournament had only strengthened the bonds between them. Allies were beginning to form, and hope blossomed in the wake of their triumphs. But as the sun rose on a new day, Naruto felt the weight of the challenges still looming. Zephyr's warning echoed in his mind, and he understood that while he had won this battle, the war was far from over. He gathered his allies once more, addressing them with renewed fervor. We've proven our strength, but we cannot let our guard down. We need to train harder, prepare for whatever the Black Hand has in store for us. We stand together, and together we will face whatever darkness comes our way." The room erupted with cheers and determined nods, the spirit of camaraderie igniting their resolve. They began to strategize, mapping out training sessions, and reinforcing their defenses. Naruto felt invigorated by their enthusiasm, knowing that they were all in this together. As the weeks passed, Naruto embraced his role as a leader. He trained relentlessly, honing his abilities and pushing himself to his limits. Garou's presence within him was the constant reminder of the power he possessed, and he refused to shy away from it. He sought out opportunities to test himself, engaging in training sessions with his allies and facing the most skilled fighters he could find. One day, as the sun dipped low in the sky, he stood atop a cliff overlooking the village, the wind whipping through his hair. He reflected on how far he had come, the weight of his past and the burden of his potential colliding within him. He was a protector, a warrior, and he was ready to carve his own destiny. Suddenly, a presence caught his attention, pulling him from his thoughts. He turned to see a figure approaching, a familiar silhouette that brought a smile to his face. It was Sakura, her face illuminated by the setting sun. "Hey, Naruto," she called out, her voice light and teasing. "What's with the brooding? I thought you were supposed to be the optimistic one." Naruto chuckled, shaking his head. "Just thinking about everything that's happened. There's still so much we need to prepare for." Sakura nodded, her expression turning serious. "I know. Zephyr's warning wasn't just talk. We need to stay vigilant." "Yeah," Naruto agreed, his gaze shifting back to the village. "But we've come this far together. I believe in us, and I know we'll face whatever comes." Sakura stepped closer, a determined glint in her eye. "We'll face it together. You don't have to carry this burden alone." He turned to meet her gaze, feeling a surge of gratitude. "Thanks, Sakura. That means a lot." She smiled back, the warmth of their friendship bolstering his spirit. "Now, are you ready to train? I've been working on some new techniques, and I'm eager to show you." Naruto's eyes lit up, the excitement igniting within him. "You bet. Let's push each other to our limits." As they made their way back to the training grounds, Naruto felt invigorated. He had allies who stood beside him, ready to face any darkness that threatened their future. Together, they would become stronger, and together, they would defend their home against whatever challenges lay ahead. As the days turned into weeks, the village prepared for the inevitable confrontation with the Black Hand. Naruto and his allies trained diligently, pushing their limits and honing their skills. They were readying themselves for the storm that loomed on the horizon, each day bringing them closer to the conflict that awaited. During one of their training sessions, Naruto felt a shift in the air. It was subtle at first, but as he continued to spar with Sakura, the tension became palpable. He could sense that the atmosphere was charged with anticipation, as if the world was holding its breath. "Do you feel that?" he asked, pausing mid-strike. Sakura nodded, her expression serious. "Something's coming." Suddenly, a horn sounded in the distance, echoing through the village. The call was urgent, and the mood shifted from one of determination to one of alarm. Naruto and Sakura exchanged worried glances before sprinting toward the village center. As they arrived, they found a crowd gathered, faces filled with fear and uncertainty. The village leader, Mei, stood at the forefront, her expression grave. "The Black Hand has mobilized," Mei announced, her voice carrying over the crowd. "They are approaching our borders, and we need to prepare for an assault." Naruto's heart raced, a mixture of adrenaline and resolve surging through him. "We'll defend our home. We've trained for this moment." Mei nodded, her eyes meeting his with a spark of determination. "Gather everyone. We'll set up defenses and prepare for the fight. We stand together, and together we will repel this attack." As Naruto rallied his friends and allies, he felt a fierce determination wash over him. This was the moment he had been preparing for, and he would not falter. He would protect his village, no matter the cost. As night fell, the tension grew thicker, a palpable entity enveloping the village. Naruto stood at the forefront of their defenses, flanked by his allies. The moon illuminated the landscape, casting long shadows as they prepared for the impending battle. The sound of marching footsteps echoed in the distance, growing louder with each passing moment. Naruto clenched his fists, channeling his chakra, the power within him surging as he focused on the task ahead. "They are coming," he said, his voice steady. "We need to hold the line. Protect the village at all costs." His allies nodded, determination etched on their faces. The weight of responsibility pressed heavily on him, but he felt the strength of those around him. They were united, and together they would face whatever darkness awaited. As the first wave of the Black Hand's forces emerged from the shadows, Naruto's heart raced. He could see the figures advancing, clad in dark armor, their faces obscured by masks. They moved with purpose, a relentless tide intent on overwhelming the village. "Get ready!" Naruto shouted, his voice ringing out. "We fight for our home." The two sides clashed, the air crackling with energy as the first attacks were exchanged. Naruto charged forward, summoning his Rasengan and unleashing it against the advancing foes. The explosion of energy sent shockwaves through the ranks of the Black Hand, but they kept coming. With every swing of his fists and every burst of chakra, he fought with a fervor that matched the chaos around him. He could feel Garou's instincts guiding him, and he'd embraced the ferocity of the battle. This was his moment to shine, to protect what mattered most. Sakura fought by his side, her own jutsu lighting up the night as she engaged with her enemies. "We can't let them breach the defenses," she shouted, her determination unwavering. Naruto nodded, his focus sharp as he pushed forward. He could see allies falling, but they were not defeated. They fought with a tenacity that fueled his spirit, reminding him of the bonds they had forged. The battle raged on, and Naruto felt the tide beginning to shift. He called upon his power, channeling everything he had into a single, devastating attack. "Konoha's wrath," he yelled, unleashing a wave of energy that surged through the battlefield. The force of his attack scattered the Black Hand's ranks, creating a momentary respite. But as he caught his breath, he realized that this was only the beginning. The night sky darkened further, and from the shadows emerged Zephyr, the harbinger of shadows, flanked by even more powerful figures. The air grew thick with malice as the dark warriors descended upon the battlefield. "Did you really think you could defeat us so easily?" Zephyr called out, his voice echoing with confidence. "This is only the start of your downfall." Naruto's resolve hardened. He wouldn't let fear take hold. "We've faced you once before, and we'll face you again. I won't let you destroy my home." With a roar, he surged forward, ready to confront Zephyr and the dark forces once more. This battle would test everything he had trained for, but he would not back down. As the two forces clashed once more, Naruto stood firm, fueled by the bonds of friendship and the determination to protect his village. He would rise to the challenge, embrace the chaos, and carve his own path through the darkness. Together with his allies, they would face the storm and emerge victorious. They would not be defeated, for they were the light against the shadows, and they would fight to the end. As the clash of swords and the thunderous explosions of jutsu filled the night air, Naruto felt a surge of energy course through him, empowering his resolve. Zephyr stood before him, a sinister grin spread across his face, his dark aura pulsating with malevolent intent. The battle around them intensified, but in that moment, Naruto's focus sharpened, zeroing in on the threat before him. "You think your little band of shinobi can stop us?" Zephyr taunted, raising a hand to summon dark energy that writhed like serpents, ready to strike. "I will show you the true meaning of despair." Naruto's jaw clenched at the words. Despair was something he had experienced far too often, and he refused to let it conquer him again. "You don't know the first thing about despair," he replied, a fierce determination igniting within him. "I have walked through hell and come out stronger. You'll find no weakness here." With a roar, he charged forward, his chakra flaring as he called upon Garou's abilities. The shadows coiled around Zephyr, lunged at him, but Naruto danced around them with supernatural speed, his movements fluid and precise. Each step resonated with Garou's instincts, amplifying his reflexes. He dodged the incoming tendrils and countered with a powerful punch, channeling all his energy into the attack. "Raise Nan!" he yelled, the swirling blue orb of chakra erupting from his palm and crashing into Zephyr's defenses. The impact sent shockwaves rippling through the battlefield, momentarily disrupting the dark energy surrounding the Harbinger. Zephyr staggered back, his smirk faltering as he glanced at the chaos unfurling behind him. Naruto seized the opportunity, pushing forward relentlessly, each striking to incapacitate his foe. "This is for everyone you've heard," he shouted, throwing a barrage of punches and kicks, each one infused with his unwavering will. As they fought, Naruto became aware of the surrounding battles, his allies engaging fiercely against the Black Hand's forces. He could see Sakura battling side by side with Sasuke, their combined strength overwhelming a group of attackers. To his right, Koji and Shikamaru worked in sync, utilizing their unique abilities to trap and dismantle their foes. The camaraderie, the unity of their village, fueled his spirit even further. "Don't let up. Keep pushing," Naruto called out, his voice rising above the cacophony of battle. The spirit of his friends reignited his strength, and he dove back into the fray, unleashing a powerful combination of jutsu that shook the ground beneath him. Zephyr regained his footing, his eyes narrowing in frustration. "You're stronger than I anticipated, but it won't be enough." He extended his hands, drawing upon a deeper well of dark power. The air thickened, and shadows coiled around him like a tempest, ready to unleash their fury. "Let's see how you handle this," Zephyr shouted, releasing a torrent of dark energy that surged toward Naruto, a wave of destructive force that threatened to engulf him. The shadows danced ominously, flickering with raw, chaotic energy. In that split second, Naruto tapped into the wellspring of Garou's abilities. He felt the feral instinct rise within him, igniting a primal power he had yet to fully embrace. "I will not be afraid," he roared, channeling every ounce of chakra he had. "Divine Wrath," he called, unleashing a massive wave of energy that collided with Zephyr's dark assault. The two forces met with a cataclysmic explosion, the shock waves radiating outward, knocking back both allies and enemies alike. Naruto felt the energy resonate within him, surging as he pushed past his limits, fueled by determination and the will to protect. With each pulse of power, he could feel Garou's spirit intertwining with his own, guiding him to a higher level of strength and ferocity. As the dust settled, Zephyr emerged from the aftermath, battered but unbroken. His expression shifted from arrogance to genuine concern. "How is this possible?" he spat, disbelief evident in his voice. "You should have succumbed to despair? Despair doesn't exist here?" Naruto shouted, refusing to back down. "I choose my own path. I stand for my friends and my village." Zephyr's eyes glinted dangerously as he summoned his shadows once more. "Then let's see how long that resolve lasts against the true power of darkness." With a fierce incantation, he unleashed a wave of shadowy tendrils that slithered toward Naruto like snakes. "Raisin Shuriken!" Naruto bellowed, forming the massive shuriken of spinning chakra and hurling it toward the oncoming shadows. The two forces collided with explosive force, shattering the darkness and creating a vortex of energy that swallowed Zephyr's attack. In the aftermath of the collision, Naruto felt a surge of confidence. He had tapped into a deeper part of himself, unlocking the true potential of Garou's power, and it felt exhilarating. But Zephyr was not finished yet. The Harbinger's form flickered, and he seemed to merge with the shadows, his presence growing more potent, more chaotic. "You will regret underestimating me," Zephyr roared, his voice echoing like thunder as he transformed into a monstrous shadow beast, his form distorting and expanding into a grotesque amalgamation of darkness and malice. The air grew thick with tension, and Naruto felt the pressure mount. But instead of fear, Naruto felt a rush of exhilaration. He had faced powerful foes before, and he would not falter now. "You think that's scary? Let me show you what true power looks like." Channeling all of his energy, Naruto began to gather chakra, forming a massive sphere of swirling energy above his head. The air crackled with raw power as he poured everything he had into the technique, feeling Garou's influence intertwine with his own. "Cosmic Barge," he shouted, launching the sphere with all his might. The attack erupted towards Ether, illuminating the night with blinding light, the sheer force of it cutting through the shadows like a blade. The monstrous form of Zephyr roared in anger and desperation as the energy engulfed him, the light piercing through the darkness. The explosion was cataclysmic, a brilliant flash that illuminated the battlefield, sending shockwaves that reverberated through the ground. As the light faded and the dust began to settle, Naruto stood tall, his breath coming in heaving gasps. The remnants of Zephyr's monstrous form dissipated into shadows, the darkness slowly retreating as the power of Naruto's attack resonated through the battlefield. "Did we win?" Sakura's voice broke through the haze, and Naruto turned to see her approaching, her eyes wide with awe and relief. Naruto nodded, a smile breaking across his face. "Yeah. We did it. Together." Cheers erupted around them as the remaining allies began to rally, the villagers standing united against the remnants of the Black Hand's forces. The energy shifted from fear to triumph, hope blooming anew in the hearts of the villagers. But even in the wake of their victory, Naruto felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. This battle was only a precursor to the larger conflict that awaited them. Zephyr's parting words echoed in his mind, a reminder that darkness always lurked in the shadows. As the sun began to rise, casting a warm glow over the battlefield, Naruto turned to his friends. "We've fought hard, but this isn't over. We need to prepare for whatever comes next. The Black Hand will regroup, and we need to be ready." Sakura placed a hand on his shoulder, her expression serious but resolute. "We will be ready, Naruto. We'll train harder, fight smarter, and stand together, just like we always have." "Right," Naruto agreed, his determination reignited. "We're a team, and we'll face whatever darkness threatens our village. I promise to protect you all." With that vow echoing in his heart, he felt a sense of clarity wash over him. He was more than just a vessel for Garou's power, he was a protector, a warrior who carved his own path amidst the chaos. The shadows would rise again, but he would face them head-on, unyielding and resolute. As they began to clean up the battlefield, a renewed sense of purpose enveloped Naruto. He would train harder, push beyond his limits, and grow stronger alongside his friends. They would not be alone in this fight, and together, they would reshape their destinies in the face of darkness. The journey ahead would be fraught with challenges, but Naruto felt ready to embrace whatever lay in store. He had found his strength, not just in the power of Garou, but in the bonds of friendship that tied them all together. And as the sun rose higher in the sky, illuminating the village he loved, Naruto knew one thing for certain: he would not back down. The story of his life was his to write, and he would forge his own path through the darkness, one battle at a time. As the sun rose higher, casting its golden rays over Konoha, the village began to stir with life once more. The echoes of battle faded, replaced by the sounds of villagers coming together to rebuild and recover. Naruto stood amidst the aftermath, watching as his friends and allies worked side by side, their spirits unbroken. He felt a sense of pride swell within him. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, but he knew this was merely the beginning. The Black Hand was still out there, lurking in the shadows, and their threat had not been extinguished. "Hey, Naruto," a familiar voice called out, breaking him from his thoughts. He turned to see Sakura running toward him, her expression a mix of determination and excitement. "I was thinking, now that we've pushed back the Black Hand, we should work on developing new techniques. We can't let our guard down." Naruto grinned, the enthusiasm of the recent victory igniting a spark within him. "You're right. If we're going to face them again, we need to be even stronger. Let's hit the training grounds." As they made their way to the training grounds, Naruto's mind raced with ideas. He wanted to explore the depths of Garou's powers, pushing the boundaries of what he could achieve. His recent transformation had revealed new abilities, and he was eager to see just how far he could go. Upon arriving, they found Sasuke waiting for them, his expression calm but focused. "I was thinking we should split our training. We can work on individual techniques and then come together to practice team strategies." "Sounds good to me," Naruto replied, already envisioning the potential for growth. "Let's challenge each other." As they started their training, Naruto felt a rush of energy coursing through him. He channeled his chakra, allowing the wild instincts of Garou to guide his movements. With each punch, kick, and technique he executed, he felt stronger, more confident. The combination of his own abilities and Garou's ferocity was exhilarating. Sakura, meanwhile, was honing her medical ninjutsu and combat techniques, pushing her limits to ensure she could support her friends in battle. She was determined to become a formidable force in her own right. "I want to be able to stand beside you both, no matter what," she said between breaths, her determination evident. Sasuke practiced his Sharingan, sharpening his skills to improve his reflexes and combat awareness. "We need to be prepared for anything. I'll work on my genjutsu. If we can catch them off guard, we might turn the tide in our favor." Hours passed as they trained, their spirits high and their camaraderie evident. Each moment spent pushing their limits forged a stronger bond among them, and they could feel the collective energy building. "All right. Let's take a break," Naruto called out after a particularly grueling round of sparring. "We've earned it." As they settled down on the grass, catching their breath, Naruto couldn't help but feel grateful for the friendships he had cultivated. They had fought against insurmountable odds together, and now they were stronger for it. But amidst the comfort of their camaraderie, a sense of urgency lingered in the back of Naruto's mind. He knew that the Black Hand would regroup, and the next confrontation could be far more dangerous. He needed to be prepared, not just for himself, but for the village and the people he cared about. "Hey," he said, breaking the comfortable silence. "What if we also focus on some advanced techniques? I've been thinking about combining our powers in ways we haven't tried yet." Sakura's eyes lit up. "That's a great idea. If we can find a way to blend our abilities, we could create something even more powerful." Sasuke nodded, a thoughtful look crossing his face. "We could explore elemental combinations, maybe even try some new jutsu that utilize our strengths in tandem." "Let's do it," Naruto exclaimed, his excitement contagious. "We'll develop techniques that nobody's ever seen before." As the trio began brainstorming, Naruto felt the weight of his new powers melding with the joy of their shared enthusiasm. They were not just friends, they were comrades preparing for the battles ahead. Days turned into weeks as Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke dedicated themselves to their training. The training grounds became their second home, where they pushed each other to new heights and explored the depths of their abilities. Each session brought new discoveries, and their bond grew stronger with every challenge they faced. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the village, Naruto stood atop a cliff overlooking Konoha. He could see the lights flickering to life as night fell, and he felt a sense of peace wash over him. But even as he admired the beauty of the village, he couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was coming. "Hey, you coming?" Sasuke's voice pulled him from his thoughts, and Naruto turned to see his friend approaching. "Yeah, just taking a moment to appreciate everything," Naruto replied, a smile on his face. "We've worked so hard to protect this place." "Protecting it means being ready for what's next," Sasuke said, his expression serious. "We can't let our guard down." Naruto nodded, the weight of his responsibility settling heavily on his shoulders. "I know. I'll do whatever it takes to keep everyone safe. I won't let the darkness take anything from us again." As they walked back to the village, Naruto felt a familiar stirring within him, a blend of confidence and anticipation. He could feel Garou's power simmering just beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to unleash its full potential. The following days passed in a flurry of activity. Word spread through the village about their training and newfound techniques, and Naruto felt a sense of pride in their progress. The villagers began to rally around them, lending support as they prepared for the inevitable clash with the Black Hand. One evening, as they gathered in the village square, Mei stood before the crowd, her voice steady and resolute. We have faced darkness before, and we will face it again. But together, we are stronger. Our bonds as a village are unbreakable, and we will fight to protect our home." The villagers cheered, their voices rising in unison, filling Naruto with a sense of hope. He looked around, seeing the determination in the faces of his friends and fellow villagers. This was what it meant to stand united, to face the challenges ahead with unwavering strength. "Now, let's show them what we're made of," Naruto shouted, his voice ringing out above the crowd. "We will rise against any darkness that threatens us." The cheers erupted again, and Naruto felt invigorated. They were a family, and together, they would face whatever awaited them. As the days passed, they continued to refine their techniques, training harder than ever before. Each session revealed new possibilities, and their bond as a team deepened. Naruto felt an unshakable determination to protect his home and those he cared about. One day, during a particularly intense training session, Naruto felt a shift in the air. It was subtle, a faint tingling at the back of his mind. He paused, sensing something looming on the horizon. "Sasuke, Sakura," he said, his tone serious. "I think something is coming. I can feel it." "What do you mean?" Sakura asked, concern etched on her face. "An energy. It feels familiar but different." "Like a challenge," Naruto replied, his instincts alert. Before they could react, a dark shadow swept over the village, blocking out the sun. Naruto looked up to see a figure standing atop a nearby hill, cloaked in darkness, emanating a powerful aura that sent chills down his spine. "Zephyr," he muttered, recognition dawning. The Harbinger had returned, and this time he was not alone. "Prepare yourselves," Zephyr called out, his voice booming, filled with malice. "You thought you could defeat me? I am not finished with you yet. I have brought my most powerful warriors to claim this village." Naruto's heart raced, adrenaline surging through him. He had been waiting for this moment, and he would not shy away from the challenge. "We're ready for you, Zephyr. You won't take anything from us." Sakura and Sasuke flagged him, their expressions fierce. "We fight together," Sakura declared, her determination shining through. With that, they rushed toward the looming threat, ready to face Zephyr and his forces once more. Naruto felt Garu's power surge within him, a primal instinct that ignited a fire in his soul. This was it, the moment he had prepared for. With every ounce of strength, he would stand against the darkness, carving his own path as a protector, a warrior, and a friend. The clash of destiny awaited him, and he was ready to embrace it, unyielding and fierce. "Let's go," he shouted, leading his friends into battle, prepared to face the storm together. As they charged toward the ominous figure of Zephyr, the ground trembled beneath their feet, each step resonating with the weight of impending confrontation. Naruto could feel the energy in the air shift, a palpable tension that signaled the clash of wills that was about to unfold. Zephyr stood atop a rocky outcrop, an aura of darkness enveloping him. He smiled, revealing a mouth full of sharp teeth. "You foolish children. You dare stand against me again? You've barely begun to understand the true extent of power." From behind Zephyr, shadows began to coalesce, morphing into monstrous figures that loomed ominously over the battlefield. These creatures were unlike anything Naruto had faced before, twisted abominations born from the depths of darkness, each emanating a suffocating aura of despair. "Ready yourself," Naruto shouted, rallying his friends as the first wave of shadows surged forward, their grotesque forms charging with menacing intent. "Let's do this," Sakura shouted, channeling her chakra as she prepared her medical ninjutsu to support her team while also stepping forward to deliver powerful punches. "We can take them." Sasuke activated his Sharingan, the crimson eyes locking onto the nearest shadow creature. "Stay focused. We need to work as a team." Naruto surged forward, drawing upon Garu's instinctual prowess. His body moved fluidly, instincts guiding him through the chaos. With each enemy that approached, he felt the thrill of the fight reignite the primal instincts within him. He channeled his chakra, enveloping his fists in a blazing aura that reflected his newfound strength. The first creature lunged at him, long white and claws extended. Without hesitation, Naruto sidestepped, delivering a powerful uppercut that sent it crashing to the ground. The impact reverberated through the air as he felt the exhilarating rush of power. He was no longer just Naruto Uzumaki, he was a force of nature, an embodiment of primal rage and power. "Take this!" Naruto shouted, unleashing a barrage of punches, each one imbued with the strength of Garou, striking down the shadow creatures one after another. Sakura fought alongside him, her movements precise and calculated, taking advantage of every opening Naruto created. She delivered swift blows, her medical training allowing her to hit pressure points that incapacitated their enemies. "We need to find Zephyr. He's the source of this," she called out, panting slightly as she landed a kick to another shadow creature, sending it sprawling. Sasuke was a whirlwind of movement, his Sharingan allowing him to anticipate the creature's attacks. He unleashed a series of fireballs, igniting the shadows and reducing them to ash. "I'll cover you. Keep pushing forward," he shouted, his voice sharp and commanding. With their combined efforts, they carved through the wave of darkness, pressing forward towards Zephyr, who watched with amusement, his twisted smile growing wider. "Impressive, but you're merely delaying the inevitable." The remaining shadows began to regroup, coalescing into a larger, more formidable entity. It towered over Naruto and his friends, its eyes glowing with a malevolent light. "You think you can defeat me? I will devour your souls." "Not today." Naruto roared, summoning his chakra. His form began to glow, a blend of his own power and the primal force of Garou's surging through him. He felt unstoppable, a primal warrior fueled by rage and a desire for freedom. With a powerful leap, Naruto launched himself at the towering creature, his fists glowing with a radiant energy that crackled with raw power. "Rasengan!" he bellowed, gathering energy into his palm as he slammed it into the creature, creating a massive explosion that sent shockwaves rippling through the air. The impact echoed, and the creature screeched, reeling back from the blow. But Zephyr merely chuckled, his eyes narrowing with dark amusement. "You're strong, but your strength is meaningless against true power." He raised his hands, channeling his surge of dark energy that twisted the air around him. Shadows began to swirl and gather, forming tendrils that lashed out toward Naruto and his friends. "Feel the despair of the world. Get down!" Sasuke shouted, narrowly avoiding a sweeping shadow as it whipped past him. He countered with a swift Chidori, the electric energy crackling through the darkness as he aimed to sever the tendrils. "Keep fighting. We can't give up," Naruto yelled, refusing to let fear creep into his heart. "We're stronger together." As they fought against the tide of shadows, a newfound determination ignited within Naruto. He could feel the darkness swirling around them, but he also felt the strength of his friends beside him, their resolve unwavering. It fueled his will to fight, igniting the primal rage of Garou within him. "We can let him take our home. We will protect Konoha," Naruto bellowed, channeling all his energy into a single attack, a massive sphere of chakra forming in his hands. "Let's finish this." Sakura and Sasuke fell back, gathering their own chakra, preparing to unleash their combined strength alongside Naruto. "We're with you," Sakura shouted, her voice ringing with conviction. "Now," Sasuke commanded, the three of them focusing their energy into a single point. "This ends now." With a roar, Naruto launched a massive Rasengan forward, the combined energy creating a blinding light that illuminated the battlefield. It collided with Zephyr's dark energy, creating a cataclysmic explosion that shook the ground beneath their feet. For a moment, time seemed to freeze as the two forces clashed, darkness against light, power against despair. Then, with a deafening boom, the explosion erupted, sending shockwaves rippling through the area. As the dust settled, Naruto stood amidst the wreckage, breathing heavily, his heart pounding in his chest. He glanced around, searching for any sign of Zephyr. The shadows had dissipated, and the air felt charged with energy, but the threat still lingered. "Is it over?" Sakura asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Sasuke stepped forward, his eyes scanning the area. "Stay alert. He could still be. Before he could finish, a dark figure emerged from the haze, Zephyr staggering back, but his eyes glowed with fury, more intense than before. You think you've won? He spat, his voice laced with malice. You've merely scratched the surface of my power? Naruto felt a surge of anger rise within him. We won't back down. We'll protect our home, no matter what it takes. Zephyr's laughter echoed, a chilling sound that sent shivers down their spines. Foolish children. The real battle begins now. With that, he unleashed a torrent of darkness, a wave of energy that surged toward them, threatening to engulf everything in its path. But Naruto, fueled by Garou's relentless spirit, stepped forward, a fierce determination burning in his eyes. Not today, he shouted, channeling all his power. We will fight. In that moment, Naruto felt the raw essence of Garou flow through him, his instincts sharpening to an unimaginable degree. He could see the attack coming, every detail clear as day. With a primal roar, he leaped into the fray, weaving through the darkness with newfound agility, guided by an innate understanding of the fight. Get ready, guys, he called out, as he dodged and struck with a ferocity that stunned even himself. His punches landed with overwhelming force, shattering Zephyr's attack before it could reach his friends. With a flick of his wrist, Naruto unleashed a barrage of energy blasts, each one striking with pinpoint accuracy. The ground beneath them trembled as the attacks connected, creating craters in the earth. Zephyr staggered back, surprise flickering across his twisted features. Impossible, he roared, frustration coloring his voice. Nothing is impossible. Naruto retorted, his voice steady and resolute. Not when we fight for what we believe in. Fueled by the relentless power of Garou and the unwavering support of his friends, Naruto surged forward, determination igniting his every move. He felt invincible, a god among mortals, unyielding in his resolve. With one final, devastating attack, he launched himself as Zephyr, channeling everything he had into a singular blow. This is for Konoha, he bellowed, delivering a crushing punch that connected with Zephyr's core, sending shockwaves rippling through the darkness. The impact echoed, and for a moment, Zephyr stood frozen, disbelief etched on his face. Then, with a deafening roar, the dark figure exploded in a brilliant flash of light, disintegrating into nothingness. Silence fell over the battlefield as Naruto landed gracefully, breathing heavily but victorious. He turned to his friends, their expressions a mix of awe and relief. We did it. We actually did it. Sakura rushed forward, embracing him tightly. I can't believe it. We really beat him. Sasuke nodded, a satisfied smirk on his face. We make a good team. As the villagers began to gather, their cheers echoing through the air, Naruto felt a wave of pride wash over him. They had faced the darkness together and emerged victorious. But deep down, he knew that this was just the beginning. The path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but he was ready to face them all. With Garou's power coursing through him, and the support of his friends by his side, Naruto was prepared to protect Konoha and ensure that no darkness would ever threaten their home again. Let's keep training, he declared, looking around at his friends and allies, their spirits unbroken. We'll be ready for whatever comes next. And with that, as the sun set over Konoha, casting a warm glow over the village, Naruto felt his sense of hope and determination filling the air. Together, they would face the future, stronger than ever before. As the cheers of victory echoed through the village, Naruto stood tall, basking in the warmth of the moment. The battle against Zephyr had been fierce, but the experience had solidified his newfound power and the connection with his friends. He glanced around, seeing familiar faces filled with relief and admiration, their spirits lifted by their collective triumph. Let's head back, Sakura suggested, her voice ringing with enthusiasm. We need to celebrate this win. Naruto grinned, feeling a rush of excitement at the prospect of a gathering. Yeah. We'll throw a huge party. Everyone should know we beat that creep. Sasuke smirked, his arms crossed over his chest. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We need to regroup and ensure there are no more surprises lurking in the shadows. Naruto nodded, the thrill of victory still coursing through him. Right. But first, I want to check on Hinata and see how she's doing. She deserves to know we won. As they made their way through the village, Naruto felt a familiar buzz of energy around him, the warmth of home, the laughter of children playing, the chatter of villagers going about their day. It was comforting, a stark contrast to the chaos they had just faced. Approaching the Hyuga compound, he spotted Hinata standing in the courtyard, her gentle smile illuminating her face as she spotted him. Naruto, she called, rushing toward him, her eyes sparkling with concern. I heard there was a battle. Are you all right? I'm fine, he replied, unable to contain his excitement. We defeated Zephyr. It was intense, but we did it. Hinata's eyes widened, and a smile broke across her face. I'm so glad. You were amazing, I just know it. Thanks, he said, his heart racing at her praise. It was a team effort, though. Everyone played a part. As they talked, Naruto felt a warmth in his chest. He remembered Garou's philosophy: powers should be used to protect those who couldn't protect themselves. He had fought not just for victory but to ensure the safety of everyone he cared about. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. A chill crept into the air, and Naruto instinctively felt the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. He turned sharply, his instincts kicking in, searching for the source of his unease. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, a silhouette against the fading sunlight. It was cloaked in a deep black robe, obscuring its features. As it stepped into the light, Naruto's heart sank. It was Zephyr, or at least, what was left of him. You think this is over? Zephyr's voice slithered through the air, laced with venom. You have merely delayed your fate. Weren't you just obliterated? Naruto shouted, his fists clenching in disbelief. How are you still here? Zephyr chuckled, a sound that sent chills down Naruto's spine. You may have destroyed my physical form, but I am not bound by flesh. I am darkness incarnate, and darkness is eternal. Get away from Hinata! Naruto yelled, stepping protectively in front of her, his instincts flaring. He could feel Garou's power surging within him, demanding to be unleashed. Zephyr raised a hand, summoning shadows that twisted and contorted into monstrous forms, their eyes glowing with malice. You will pay for your insolence. Not if I can help it. Naruto replied fiercely, feeling the energy around him pulsate with raw power. I won't let you hurt anyone. With a fierce battle cry, Naruto launched himself at Zephyr, channeling Garou's primal fury. He felt the wind rush past him as he dashed forward, dodging the tendrils of darkness that lashed out toward him. Each step was fueled by an overwhelming desire to protect his friends and prove himself. As he neared Zephyr, he unleashed a flurry of punches, each strike crackling with energy. Raise Nan, he shouted, gathering chakra into his palm and slamming it against the nearest shadow creature, sending it exploding into a cloud of darkness. Zephyr's laughter echoed around them, taunting. You think you can defeat me? I have grown stronger from our last encounter. But Naruto was undeterred. I won't let you win. I'll fight with everything I have. In a split second, he sensed movement from behind, the shadows swirling and reforming into a massive creature. It lunged at him, teeth bared, but Naruto reacted instinctively, channeling Garou's speed and agility. He dodged the attack, rolling to the side before delivering a powerful kick that sent the creature crashing to the ground. He glanced back at Hinata, who was watching with wide eyes, her expression a mix of awe and fear. Stay back, he called, knowing she needed to be safe. I'll handle this. With a roar, Naruto tapped into the depths of Garou's power, feeling the adrenaline spike through his veins. He could feel the energy surging within him, the primal rage demanding release. Let's end this. Zephyr raised his hand again, summoning even more shadows, but Naruto was faster. With a primal battle cry, he unleashed a massive wave of chakra, a luminous explosion that lit up the darkening sky. The shadows shrieked as the light engulfed them, vaporizing the dark tendrils in an instant. Garou's spirit guides me, he bellowed, feeling the power coursing through him like a raging storm. He leaped into the air, a glowing figure against the darkened sky, and delivered a final blow to Zephyr. Raisin Shuriken. The attack spiraled toward Zephyr, its energy so intense that the air crackled and trembled around it. As it collided with a dark figure, a blinding flash of light erupted, engulfing everything in its path. For a moment, Naruto was suspended in time, surrounded by pure energy, a convergence of light and dark. Then, with a deafening explosion, the darkness shattered, disintegrating Zephyr's form into nothingness, leaving only a lingering echo of his rage. As the dust settled, Naruto landed gracefully, panting heavily. He turned to find Hinata staring at him, her eyes wide with admiration and disbelief. You did it." "Yeah," he said, breathing hard, a grin breaking across his face. "I really did." But just as the adrenaline began to fade, he felt a new presence, one that made the hairs on his neck stand on end. A figure stepped forward from the shadows, cloaked in darkness, eyes glinting like coals. It was another figure, even darker than Zephyr, exuding an aura of malice that made the air grow cold. "You think you are victorious? There are greater forces at play than you can possibly imagine," it sneered. Naruto's heart raced. "Who are you?" he demanded, stepping forward, fists clenched. The figure's laughter was chilling. "I am the harbinger of your destruction. I have come to collect what is owed." "What do you want?" Naruto growled, his instincts flaring. "I want to see if you can withstand the true test of darkness," it replied, raising a hand. Shadows surged forth, threatening to envelop Naruto and Hinata. "No," he shouted, his chakra flaring wildly. "I won't let you take her." With a fierce roar, he tapped into Garou's primal rage once more, summoning a wave of energy that collided with the encroaching shadows, illuminating the darkening sky around them. "I will forge my own path," he declared, the power radiating from him a testament to his resolve. "I will not be bound by your darkness." As the shadows clashed against his light, Naruto felt the fight surge within him, an overwhelming need to protect, to prove himself. The true battle was just beginning, and he was ready to face whatever lay ahead. The clash of energies reverberated through the air, sending shockwaves across the landscape. Shadows writhed and screamed, desperately trying to engulf Naruto and Hinata, but with each pulse of power he unleashed, the darkness recoiled as if burned by the light. "You think you can withstand me?" the dark figure taunted, its voice dripping with disdain. "You're merely a child playing with forces beyond your comprehension." Naruto's eyes blazed with determination. "You don't know anything about me," he shouted, channeling Garou's ferocity. "I've fought against impossible odds before, and I'll do it again." The dark figure laughed, a sound devoid of humor. "Then let's see how long you can last against the true might of despair." It thrust its arm forward, and the shadows surged, expanding like a tidal wave ready to swallow everything in its path. As the darkness approached, Naruto felt a surge of adrenaline and clarity. He recalled Garou's teachings. Strength was not just in raw power but in one's resolve to stand firm against the tide of adversity. He wouldn't be a pawn in this game, he would forge his own destiny. "Raisin Shuriken," he bellowed, spinning around as he gathered chakra once more, forming the spiraling attack between his palms. The energy crackled and glowed, illuminating his face with a fierce light. He hurled the attack into the oncoming wave of shadows. The explosion was immense, sending ripples through the air as light clashed against darkness. The shadows writhed and screamed, contorting under the assault until they finally shattered, dissolving into nothingness. But the dark figure remained, unscathed, its eyes narrowing as it observed Naruto with an unsettling intensity. "Impressive," it admitted, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "But you're still playing with forces far beyond your understanding." "Maybe so," Naruto replied, his breath steadying as he prepared for the next confrontation. "But I'm done playing. I'll protect Konoha and everyone I care about, no matter what it takes." "You're naive," the figure sneered, stepping closer, darkness swirling around it like a cloak. "You believe you can stand alone against the tide of true despair. This world is filled with darkness, and you are just one flickering flame, I will extinguish you." With a flick of its wrist, it unleashed a torrent of shadowy tendrils, lashing out at Naruto with vicious intent. But Naruto was ready. He dodged and weaved through the dark appendages, feeling the rush of adrenaline coursing through his veins. "Fighting alone isn't my style," he shouted back, channeling his chakra into his legs and launching himself upward. He executed a series of swift flips, landing gracefully on a nearby rooftop. "I've got my friends at my side. And they are stronger than you'd think." Himeda, watching from the ground, felt a swell of pride and admiration for Naruto. She knew he was powerful, but seeing him fight like this, with the confidence and fury of Garou, was awe-inspiring. "Naruto, you can do this," she encouraged, her voice carrying across the distance. The dark figure looked momentarily taken aback by the support Naruto received. "What's this? A little pep talk? How adorable," it mocked, but there was a glimmer of uncertainty in its voice. Ignoring the taunts, Naruto felt a surge of energy from within. "I won't let your darkness win," he roared, channeling all his rage and determination into one final attack. "This ends now." He charged, gathering chakra into a massive sphere, a Rasengan infused with the raw power of Garou's spirit. The air crackled with energy as he hurled it at the dark figure, the light blazing brighter than anything before. The dark figure's eyes widened in shock. "No. You can't." The explosion was cataclysmic. Light engulfed everything, illuminating the night sky as Naruto's attack collided with the dark figure, creating a massive shockwave that shattered windows and knocked debris across the village. As the light faded, the remnants of shadows evaporated into the night air, leaving behind an eerie silence. Naruto stood, breathing heavily, his fists clenched and body trembling from the exertion. He scanned the area, expecting the figure to reappear, but there was nothing, only the residual echoes of his power resonating in the air. Did I do it?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. Suddenly, Himeda rushed to his side, her eyes wide with concern. "Naruto, are you okay?" He nodded, though fatigue began to wash over him. "I think so. But we need to be careful. It might not be over yet." As they stood together, a sense of accomplishment began to settle within him. He had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, not just through raw power but by believing in himself and the bonds he shared with others. Then, a rumbling sound echoed from behind them, drawing their attention. They turned to see the sky darken, clouds swirling ominously above Konoha, as a low growl reverberated through the air. "What now?" Naruto exclaimed, tension mounting in his chest. From the shadows, a massive figure emerged, towering over the buildings, its form cloaked in darkness. Its eyes glowed red, and a haunting laugh escaped its lips. "You think you have triumphed, little child? I am only the beginning of your despair." Himeda gasped, stepping back, but Naruto stood his ground. "I won't back down," he shouted, feeling the fire of Garou's spirit burning within him once more. With a roar, the creature lunged forward, and Naruto braced himself, ready to fight. He could feel the weight of destiny upon his shoulders, the expectation to protect those he loved, to stand against the growing darkness. He would carve his own path, defying all odds. "Let's do this!" Naruto bellowed, charging forward with renewed determination, ready to face the new threat head-on. As he leapt into the fray, he felt the rush of power and purpose surge through him. This was his moment to prove that he was not just a flickering flame but a blazing inferno. The battle continued, a testament to his strength and resolve, the fight against the darkness only just beginning. And as he faced the ominous creature, a smirk crossed his face. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he would confront them, fueled by the spirit of Garou and the bonds of friendship he cherished. He was Naruto Uzumaki, and he would forge his own path, a path filled with strength, determination, and an unwavering will to protect those he loved. The world may be filled with darkness, but he was the light that would push it back, one battle at a time. Naruto charged forward, his heart pounding in sync with the fierce energy coursing through him. The ominous figure loomed ahead, shadows swirling around its massive form, creating a palpable sense of dread. But as he approached, He felt Garou's spirit urging him on, filling him with the courage to confront this new threat. "Let's see what you've got," he shouted defiantly, launching himself into the air, executing his spinning kick aimed directly at the creature's head. The dark being responded with a swift motion, swatting him aside like an insect. Naruto hit the ground hard but rolled back to his feet, refusing to let the impact deter him. "That's all you've got?" "I expected more," he taunted, his voice ringing with defiance as he readied himself for another attack. The creature's eyes glowed brighter, a chilling smile spreading across its shadowy face. "You underestimate the darkness, child. I am the embodiment of despair, and you will learn that your light cannot extinguish me." "Maybe not, but I'll sure as hell try," Naruto retorted, his determination unwavering. He gathered chakra into his palms, summoning the swirling entity of a Rasengan once more. "Rasengan," he yelled, launching it at the creature with all his might. The blast hit the creature squarely, and for a moment, it seemed as though Naruto's attack had made an impact. The force of the explosion sent shockwaves rippling through the air, and for a brief instant, he allowed himself to hope that he had defeated it. But the creature merely chuckled, the shadows swirling around it to absorb the entity. "Foolish child. You cannot hope to defeat me with such trivial attacks." Naruto clenched his fists, frustration bubbling within him. "Then I guess it's time to get serious." He took a deep breath, tapping into the depths of Garou's power, feeling the primal energy flooding his veins, intensifying his senses and enhancing his abilities. With renewed vigor, Naruto leapt back into the fray, darting around the creature's massive form with incredible speed. He was a blur, striking from all angles, each punch and kick charged with fierce energy. "You think you can just waltz in here and threaten my village? Not on my watch." The creature swung its arm, trying to catch him, but Naruto evaded it effortlessly, delivering a series of rapid strikes to its side. "I won't let you destroy what I care about." He felt the thrill of battle ignite within him, each clash empowering him further. He was a force of nature, a whirlwind of determination fueled by the desire to protect his friends and family. The creature snarled, finally showing signs of frustration. "You are tenacious, I'll give you that. But it won't be enough." It unleashed a barrage of shadowy tendrils, aiming to ensnare Naruto. But Naruto was ready. He focused his chakra into a defensive barrier, channeling Garou's instinctive reflexes. As the tendrils approached, he executed a powerful counter-attack, spinning and creating his shockwave of energy that shattered the dark tendrils, sending them flying back. "Get out of my way," he shouted, pushing forward, fists glowing with chakra. "I won't let you harm anyone." With a fierce battle cry, he gathered his energy for one final, devastating move. "This is for everyone who believed in me," he shouted, channeling all his power into a massive Rasen shuriken, its spiraling form glowing with an intensity that illuminated the night sky. The creature's eyes widened in shock and anger. "No. You will not defeat me. I'll make sure of it," Naruto yelled, throwing the Rasen shuriken with all his strength. It tore through the air, leaving a trail of light in its wake, and collided with the creature's dark form. The resulting explosion was cataclysmic, light and shadow clashing in a brilliant display of energy. Naruto felt a shockwave reverberate through him as he was thrown back, landing hard on the ground, but his gaze remained fixed on the glowing sphere of energy. The creature howled in fury, the shadows writhing and twisting as it struggled against the power of Naruto's attack. "You think you can extinguish the darkness? I will return. There are forces far greater than you could ever understand." Naruto gritted his teeth, pushing himself up despite the pain coursing through him. "Maybe so, but I'll be ready for you. I won't let you harm my home," he declared, determination blazing in his eyes. The energy of the Rasen shuriken consumed the creature, engulfing it in a blinding light. With one final scream, the dark being was obliterated, disintegrating into nothingness as the light surged, illuminating the night sky and banishing the shadows that had threatened Konoha. Breathing heavily, Naruto fell to his knees, exhaustion washing over him. He glanced around, seeing the damage the battle had caused but also feeling the weight of victory on his shoulders. He had faced true darkness and emerged victorious. Hinata rushed to his side, concern etched across her face. "Naruto. Are you okay?" "Yeah," he panted, a grin breaking through his fatigue. "I'm fine. Just a bit worn out." "You were amazing," she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with admiration. "You really defeated it." Naruto shrugged, trying to downplay it. "It was a team effort. I couldn't have done it without your support." As they shared a moment of relief, the weight of the battle began to settle in. The air felt lighter, and the ominous presence that had loomed over Konoha was finally gone. But even as they celebrated their victory, Naruto couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. "Do you think that was it?" he asked, glancing up at the sky, now clear and filled with stars. Hinata bit her lip, uncertainty clouding her expression. "I don't know. But we need to stay vigilant. If that creature was only a part of something bigger." "Then we'll be ready," Naruto interrupted, his voice steady. "We'll train harder, get stronger. I won't let anyone threaten our home again." "Together," she agreed, determination shining in her eyes. As they stood in the aftermath of the battle, surrounded by the remnants of their struggle, Naruto felt a renewed sense of purpose. He had embraced the power of Garou, the spirit of a warrior unyielding in the face of darkness. And with every challenge that came his way, he would forge his own path, unwavering and resolute. In that moment, surrounded by his friends, Naruto realized that the bonds they shared were as powerful as any force in the universe. They would face whatever lay ahead together, facing each challenge with strength and unity. "Let's go back," he said, pushing himself to his feet. "We have a village to protect and a future to build." With Hinata by his side, Naruto set off toward Konoha, determination igniting within him. Whatever darkness lurked in the shadows, he would confront it head-on, ready to defend his home and everyone he loved. Together, they would face the future, stronger than ever before. The true battle was just beginning, but he was prepared to fight, to embrace his destiny, and to carve out a path that would shine bright against the encroaching darkness.